Zhang Zhihui didn't reply because he didn't need to. At the moment, more than 10 people had surrounded them. Zhang Zhihui didn't reply because he didn't need to. At the moment, more than 10 people had surrounded them. Yi Mo scanned these people coldly and didn't talk. Out of the 12 people, there was 1 Earth-level elementary stage for Black level and 7 Yellow level. Brother Zhang, we Broken Fist Hall also know what you're here for. We just want to ask that you give us this MO. Xiao Bei after you take the Lu Blue Carrot. I, Zhang Qingfa, will pay you back. It was the Earth-level talking. He thought Yi Mo was apprehended by Zhang Zhihui. Zhang Zhihui didn't even look at this Earth-level martial artist and said very respectfully to Yi Mo, Qian Bei, these are the people from the Broken Fist Hall, because Qian Bei killed Zhang Qingza last time, who was the brother of their leader. They brought almost all of their elite here. Their head is the leader of the Broken Fist Hall, Zhang Qinfa. Zhang Zhihui, what are you doing? The Earth level heard Zhang Zhihui's words and was shocked. Although they had a lot of people, numbers were useless against Earth level masters. Yi Mo scanned Zhang Qingfa and blandly said, From today onwards, the Broken Fist Hall no longer needs to exist. I will erase it from existence. How dare you? Zhang Zhihui, do you think you can take on our Broken Fist Hall all by yourself? Your Zhang family will experience bloodbath from us. Although Zhang Qingfa was concerned with Zhang Zhihui, he wouldn't resist anyone who stopped him from getting revenge. He believed that the reason Yi Mo was so bold was because Zhang Zhihui was supporting him. You talk too much. Yi Mo didn't want to waste words. His flying sword turned into a purple beam and smashed towards Zhang Qingfa's forehead like a shooting star. Clank! Zhang Qingfa blocked the flying sword in that instant, but his sword was already in half. Before he could see what projectile it was, Yi Mo's flying sword turned and pierced the back of his neck. Flying sword. Zhang Qingfa just spat out these 2 words and fell dead to the ground. The intense shock was still there in his eyes. The flying sword still floated in the air with purple rays striking fear into people's hearts. The remaining 11 people were frozen on the spot. What was this flying sword? The legendary flying sword. No one believed it, but their strongest leader had been killed. He had only blocked once, and that was because he sacrificed his precious sword. They were far from Earth level and didn't have good swords in their hands. They wouldn't even be able to see the sword before they were killed. Zhang Zhihui was sweating. If he didn't act fast, he would be a cold body now too. Even if he could block it 3 times at most. This flying sword was fast like a comet. Any Earth-level master wouldn't be able to block more than 10 strikes unless it was a great Heaven-level master. Arg! A Black-level peak master was the first to react. He looked at the sword floating in the air and screamed. He could no longer control the fear in his heart and turned to run. Humph! Yi Mo sneered. Since he killed, he had no intentions of letting any of them go. The Broken Fist Hall was different to Zhang Zhihui. It was a hidden sect, so if he didn't kill them all, it would come back again. Plus, he killed the brother of their leader, so there was no way around this feud. The only way was to erase it. Meanwhile, Zhang Zhihui had a large family wealth and had his concerns. Plus, he didn't have that much feud with Yi Mo, so it would be far more useful to let him live than kill him. Under the control of his spirit sense, the flying sword twisted into a purple beam and pierced all of their heads quickly. In the blink of an eye, there were only 2 people left. Yi Mo controlled the sword to spin in the air, but didn't move anymore. The remaining people were shocked by Yi Mo's carnage and kneeled down after half a beat, not daring to say anything. All they did was keep bowing their head on the ground. Seeing the bloody scene, Zhang Zhihui shivered. This was real carnage. At this moment, he wouldn't doubt for a bit that Yi Mo could kill his entire family. This guy killed without any emotions. He could tell that Yi Mo often did these types of things. Broken Fist Hall was still a middle-ranked hidden sect, but more than 90% of their elites were gone like that. This Qian Bei was far from as easy to talk to as he had imagined. He didn't kill him, probably due to other reasons. Thinking about this, Zhang Zhihui wasn't just feeling cold. He could even feel his calves shivering. Suddenly, Zhang Zhihui felt a frigidness, and he subconsciously looked at Yemo and saw that Yemo was staring at him and sneering. Qian Bei. Zhang Zhihui's head was tingling. Yemo didn't say anything, but just stared at him once, and looked away, closing his eyes. What did the Qian Bei mean? Zhang Zhihui was scared. Was he going to be killed too? But then why did he leave two alive? Yemo didn't seem to hear what Zhang Zhihui said, but just looked up at his flying sword, and his eyes were indifferent. Zhang Zhihui couldn't understand Yemo's intentions for a long time. But now he saw Yemo look at his flying sword and then on the two remaining people on the ground. He suddenly understood. Yemo wanted him to kill them. If he didn't show his loyalty now, perhaps this Qian Bei's flying sword would pierce his head immediately. Thinking about this, Zhang Zhiho didn't dare to wait at all. He immediately picked up his sword and rushed quickly in front of the two remaining people and sliced twice. The two kneeling on the ground was confused. They didn't why Zhang Zhihui killed them instead of the flying sword wielder Qian Bei. You're very good. Yemo scanned Zhang Zhihui and took back his flying sword. Zhang Zhihui secretly wiped some sweat, thinking he almost didn't understand what Yemo meant. Since you want me to kill them, just say it. Why be so mysterious and stuff? Zhang Zhihui took a breath of relief and said, Qian Bei, these Broken Fist Hall people are evil. They dare to offend Qian Bei. Serves them right to be killed. Just wait for me to deal with these bodies first. Zhang Zhihui was about to clean away the bodies. After all, even though it was fighting amongst the hidden sects, they still needed to deal with it in secret. Yemo smiled and said no need. Then Yemo casually threw out more than 10 fireballs. He was stage 3 Qi gathering peak now, so he could barely use 14 fireballs at once. The bodies on the ground were burned to ashes, and even the ground started to crack. Zhang Zhihui was dumbfounded. If the flying sword gave him great shock, then this fireball made him realize it was the means of gods and sages. He stared at the bodies that had become ashes in disbelief and couldn't say anything. Zhang Zhihui. Yemo had asserted his dominance, so he no longer needed to be polite. Yes, Qian Bei. Zhang Zhihui immediately reacted and looked at Yemo with reverence and fear. Yemo, of course, knew that after the club he needed to feed the old guy a carrot to make him completely obedient. Now he nodded satisfactorily, seeing Zhang Zhihui's state, and said, Do you know the address of Broken Fist Hall? Yes, I've been there once. Zhang Zhihui didn't dare to hide anything. Okay, in that case, you go finish them. That shouldn't be a problem, right? Yemo looked at Zhang Zhihui, giving him an invisible pressure. He wasn't afraid this old man wouldn't agree. He purposely left the last 2 men for the old man to kill. Now, the old man had to listen to him and exterminate the Broken Fist Hall. Zhang Zhihui didn't dare to say half a no. Even if he didn't kill the Broken Fist Hall people, he didn't dare to disobey Yemo's words. Okay, in that case, after you exterminate them, wait for me at the Zhang family. You've stayed in Earth level middle stage for quite some time, right? As long as you make me happy, I don't mind letting you progress a step further. Yemo knew it was time to give the sweet fruit. Zhang Zhihu was shaken. He had been working hard for decades, but he still wasn't able to break through Earth level middle stage. If he could, he wouldn't be robbing Yemo's blue carrot. It was because the seduction of breakthrough was too great for him that he tried to rob Yemo. Now that Yemo said he could help him break through, it was like dropping a nuclear bomb. He didn't doubt Yemo's words the slightest bit. Yemo was a great heaven-level master, so how could he care about a mere Earth-level middle stage breakthrough? Plus, if he couldn't break through, his lifespan would be up soon. Even those ancient martial artists who cultivate to Earth-level peak stage couldn't extend their life. At most, their bodies would be healthier, and they would live a few extra years than mortals. Only those who reached the legendary Great Heaven level could extend their life by 60 years immediately. However, if he couldn't even reach Earth level tertiary stage, how could he even reach Great Heaven level? Yi Mo promised that he could reach Earth level tertiary stage, and Zhang Jihu was willing to do anything even if he sold everything he had. After a long while, he woke up from this huge joy and immediately knew that Yi Mo wanted him to show his loyalty. As such, he quickly said respectfully, "Qianbei, don't worry, I won't let a single person escape from Broken Fist Hall." Okay, in that case, go do it and wait for me. Remember, if there are some rare herbs and ores, collect it all for me. I will give you a list in some time. Help me find the herbs on it. I won't mistreat you, Yi Mo noted. Okay, in that case, go do it and wait for me. Remember, if there are some rare herbs and ores, collect it all for me. I will give you a list in some time. Help me find the herbs on it. I won't mistreat you, Yi Mo noted. Zhang Zhihui took a breath of relief. He was afraid Yi Mo had no requests, but since Yi Mo had some, he felt assured. If he had no value, he didn't believe a decisive killer like Yi Mo would let him go. When Zhang Zhihui left, Yi Mo glanced at the brush on the side and sneered. This person was hiding there when he killed Zhang Qingfa. However, Yi Mo didn't expose him. He knew it was that Shi Wushan from the auction. He believed that after the old guy saw his powers, the people from the auction wouldn't dare to mess with him. The reason he didn't get into more conflict with the auction association was because of resources. Perhaps he could collaborate with the association again. However, if they tried to play any tricks, he could annihilate them at any time with his current power. As soon as he left Wu Liang Mountain, Yi Mo called Qiao Gang. After all, he promised him to race for him, but had delayed it due to his own things. He didn't know whether it was finished already. But regardless, he had to greet Qiao Gang since he took his money. Qiao Gang was very surprised to hear Yi Mo's voice. "Big bro, I thought you had forgotten about this. I tried calling you, but can't reach you. The race is in 6 days. Where are you? I'll come pick you up." Yi Mo didn't expect the race to not have begun yet. He looked at the calendar on the phone and discovered that it wasn't the end of the month yet. In that case, he would help Qiao Gang. After all, Qiao Gang's money helped him in a time of great need. Thinking about this, he immediately said, "I'm going to Tandu Shirfan University to find my sister. Just find me the day before the race." "Ah, great. The race is near Tandu in the Guilin Valley. I'll come pick you up at that time. Thanks. How do I call you, brother?" Qiao Gang was worried for a month. Just when he was lost, he received Yi Mo's call and was very excited. It was not that he thought Yi Mo was a fraud, but he felt with Yi Mo's supercar skills, it would be too easy to earn hundreds of thousands, and there was no need to cheat him. "I'm Yi Mo." At this time, Yi Mo no longer needed to hide. The hidden sects already know of his identity. He hid his identity because he was too weak. Now that his flying sword was made, unless he wanted to fight the entire country or the entire hidden sects, he didn't need to be scared. Those two conditions wouldn't even exist. He didn't harm the country, and in addition, he was the instructor of flying snow and had the permit to kill. Shishuang Temple. A few people rushed over into that secret meeting room. Shi Wushan was already restless. "Elder Shi, why did you call us in a hurry over here?" The one talking was Lady Fong. Yu Shixiong sat down slowly and said, "Lady Fong, don't worry. I think we probably found that MOing." However, Shi Wushan stood up and said, "Yu Shixiong, I have indeed found his traces and also saw his real face. That young man is only in his 20s, but—" "You saw him being attacked by the Broken Fist Hall people," the goatee said. Shi Wushan nodded, but before he said anything else, Lady Fong continued, "Was he killed by the Broken Fist Hall people? If that's the case, are they not giving us space association any face at all?" Yu Shixiong shook his head and calmly said, "Lady Fong is too hasty. Their broken fist haul is not bad, but they're not at the stage to disregard us. Even if that Mo Ing killed Zheng Qingza, they wouldn't dare to act so confident. I think she sure has something else to say. We must get Mo Ing. What conditions did they bring up? Shi Wushan shook his head and said, Broken Fist Hall didn't say anything. That's impossible. Even if they are giving us face, they will certainly still have some conditions. Yu Shixiong shook his head. He believed his judgment was right. Shi Wushan seriously said, It's not that they won't, but they can't. The 12 people who attacked Mo Ing, including their leader Zheng Qingfa, were all killed by Mo Ing. What? Yu Shixiong exclaimed as his cup fell to the ground. It splashed water, but he didn't notice it at all. After half a beat, he gasped and said, Zheng Qingfa is at the peak of Earth-level elementary stage, and he has 11 good men. That young man can kill him. Was he pretending before? Shi Wushan heavily nodded. I think he might have been acting before. I clearly saw from the side that this person is very decisive in killing, and he is also merciless. He could actually kill Zheng Qingfa and 11 strong men's attack. Shi sure die. What level is he? Yu Shixiong recovered from the shock and calmed down. Shi Wushan seriously said, I suspect he has reached Great Heaven level already. What? Not only Yu Shixiong was shocked again, but also Lady Fong and the Godi. Great Heaven level? Was Great Heaven level this easy? Ancient martial arts hadn't had a Great Heaven master in over a few centuries. Shi sure die. Did you see wrong? This Mo Ing once killed Lone Wolf. But it's too much to say he's Great Heaven level. Yu Shixiong's face was getting more and more serious. Shi Wushan shook his head and said, I'm sure I saw it right. I was suspicious last time when he fell off the cliff. Even an Earth-level peak stage master would die if they fall from that cliff. But he even managed to survive unscathed. And you know how many moves he used to kill Zheng Qingfa? You might not believe it, but he only used 2 moves. However, I feel that these 2 moves was only a single and very simple move. The remaining people were shocked into silence. Killing an Earth-level martial artist with 1 move, even an Earth-level peak stage couldn't do that. Then perhaps it was really possible that he was Great Heaven level. Seeing these few people with their mouth open in shock, Shi Wushan sighed. I saw it with my own eyes. Otherwise, I wouldn't believe it too. At that time, there was Zhang Zhihui by his side, but he was also defeated by Mo Ing, and he even surrendered to him. Do you know the weapon he used? He actually used a flying sword. You won't believe it, but he could actually command a flying sword. The speed of it was like a comet and even emitted light rays. Although Zheng Qingfa blocked that sword sliced apart his sword, and then the sword flew back and pierced Zheng Qingfa's heart from the back. I really can't describe that sword. Flying sword? The people in the room had turned to stone. Before, they still believed that the young man was really Great Heaven level. But now, after knowing that he could use a flying sword, there was certainly no doubt that he was at Great Heaven level. After a long while, Lady Fong murmured, he could use a flying sword. Is there really a Great Heaven level master? It's really... Shi Wushan sighed. That's not what shocked me the most. What stunned me was that he could throw out fireballs with his hand, and those 12 people were burnt to ashes. Yu Shixiong could no longer control the shock in his heart and sat down with a pale face. After a while, he and Lady Fong murmured, we dared to challenge a Great Heaven level master. He was actually a Great Heaven level. We're crazy. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something and stood up. Shi sure die immediately stopped the investigation and tracking of him, as well as any operations on him. We can't mess with someone like that. Shi Wushan bitterly smiled. It's too late. I'm sure he noticed me when I hit on the side, but he just stared at me and sneered. He didn't call out my name, but I'm certain he noticed me. He's that strong. Godi sighed after a long while. Yu Shixiong sunk into a long silence before slowly saying, if he really wanted revenge against us, we have no way to stop him. Since he discovered Shi Shirdi and didn't point it out, it meant he has some other intentions or some place where he needs our help. Plus, we haven't really offended him yet. Zhang Zhihui offended him that much. But he didn't kill him and instead took him under his wing. Perhaps we can be like Zhang Zhihui too. Shi Xiong, you mean? Shi Wushan's eyes lit up. He couldn't say this analysis was wrong. Yu Shixiong had calmed down now and said again, this person can take out something like Lotus Life Pill and Face Preserving Pill meant that he's definitely someone powerful and cares a lot about herbs. The reason he didn't fight with us was not because he was scared of us, but because he wants to borrow us to do something for him, just like Zhang Zhihui. Then what do we do now? Contact him? Lady Fang said. Yu Shixiong shook his head, however. No, this Qian Bei has a weird temper, and plus he's probably more than 100 years old. We can only wait for him to come to us. If we annoy him again, our space association will really be in danger. And we need to notify our elders this is no minor issue. Although Yi Mo wanted to give the association some pressure, he didn't expect the effect to be so well. Now he was on the plane towards Tandu. He would go see Tang Beiwei and treat her mother. Last time he gave a pill to her, so Yi Mo was sure it could save her mum's life for at least half a year. It was the second time Yi Mo came to Tandu. The first time was with Wendong, but he didn't even go in the city and just left with Wendong after they blew up the mansion, so he wasn't very familiar with Tandu. It was the second time Yi Mo came to Tandu. The first time was with Wendong, but he didn't even go in the city and just left with Wendong after they blew up the mansion. So he wasn't very familiar with Tandu. However, Tandu Shifan University was quite famous. He called a taxi over, and the taxi driver knew where it was. Yi Mo stood at the gate of the university, watching the pairs of guys and girls. They either had their arms around each other or were holding hands. If he didn't know this was a university, he would have thought it was a place for wedding registration. He sighed. The students here seemed more open than Ninghai University students. However, he didn't really know that much about Ninghai University as he stayed in the library all day. Although there were a lot of students going in and out, Yi Mo seemed very spiritual and out of this world just by standing there. And due to cultivating for a long time, he had this ethereal temperament. Plus, his clothes were chosen by Yi Ling, which not only suited him but was also good brands. So, immediately, he seemed to stand out amongst the students. Perhaps due to his out-of-this-world temperament, many students discussed about him. He didn't know where Tang Beiwei was and didn't know which course she was in. The only thing he knew was that she studied here. He walked to the front door and stopped a girl with a few books and said very politely, "Hello, may I ask?" Before Yi Mo could finish, he saw the girl glare at him and say, "I don't know." "Don't know?" Yi Mo was confused. He didn't even say where he wanted to go. Who said only girls knew where the girls' dorms were? Yi Mo thought guys should know its whereabouts too. Why did he have to ask a girl? Yi Mo blamed himself for being too dumb, but this girl was too rude. He stepped aside and stopped the guy behind her. "Hey, do you know where the girls' dorms are?" Before the guy could reply, the girl just then immediately turned around and politely said, "Hey, sorry about just then. I know where the girls' dorms are. How about I take you there?" A minute ago, she told him she didn't know coldly, but now she was full of smiles and offered to take him there. The change was too great. Yi Mo turned and looked at this girl and frowned. What was this? The guy Yi Mo asked saw this and quickly smiled and slipped away. This girl's change had aroused Yi Mo's suspicion. He started to study this girl. She seemed to be in her 20s and were more mature than most students. However, she was relatively pretty. Her skin was white, and her hair was shoulder length. Amidst her cold temperament, there was also arrogance. Her lips were rather thin, and it could be seen she was a little cold-hearted. This girl was weird. Yi Mo didn't want any trouble, so he said, "No need, you can just point a direction for me." The girl seemed to be bemused, but she quickly enthusiastically said, "No, I'll take you there. I'm afraid you won't be able to find the way if I just point a direction. But her cold temperature didn't match this hospitality. Before Yi Mo could talk, a bright red sports car stopped in front of him, and a handsome youth got off. This youth walked over and said to the girl in front of Yi Mo, "Hichi, I saw you from across the road. It's such a coincidence. Let's go, we'll go together." Yi Mo looked at this car. He had no knowledge about cars. Other than some really good cars, he knew nothing about it. He didn't even know what brand this car was. This Hichi was suddenly about to grab Yimo's hand, but Yimo just swung his hand back and the girl missed. She looked at Yimo in surprise. There was no hint for her movement, but this guy could dodge it. However, she immediately began to feel uncomfortable. She was a pretty girl. Was he going to lose something if she grabbed his hand? If this guy didn't have such a temperament, she wouldn't even get help from him. Yi Mo had understood now and was filled with disgust towards this girl. He thought of Sume. She was exactly the same like Sume, wanting to use him to avoid this youth. There was actually such a woman. He didn't even know her, and she wasn't even willing to help him with the way, but now she wanted to use him. Yi Mo was not only disgusted, but he also extremely detested this girl. If she helped him point the way, then perhaps he wouldn't mind helping her. However, this Hichi not only wouldn't help him point the way, but she also wanted to use him to block a guy she didn't like. It was obvious this man driving the sports car was no ordinary person. If it was any other guy, they wouldn't have a good ending. It could be seen how heartless this woman was, only thinking about herself and completely disregarding others. Yi Mo sneered. He didn't want to help this girl at all. "Hello, I'm Zhang He." This youth took his hand and wanted to shake hands with Yi Mo. His mannerism was elegant and seemed very polite. However, Yi Mo's spirit sense scanned a small prick on this youth's ring, and a blue light flashed very quick. This prick was very small. If he shook hands with him, the needle would pierce into his hand. Such a malicious guy, this pair of animals. The youth smiled so amicably, but was so malicious. He didn't even know who he was or who Yi Mo was to this girl, and wanted to attack him. Although Yi Mo didn't know if the tip was poisoned, he knew this needle wasn't a simple thing. Yi Mo casually hit out a strand of chi into the palm of the youth and coldly looked at the youth. Not interested. Then he turned and left. This youth saw that Yi Mo didn't even want to shake hands with him, and his eyes immediately went cold. He didn't believe anyone would see the prick on his ring because it was extremely small. "Wait for me, ah." The girl saw Yi Mo ignore the youth and turn to leave. She was surprised but immediately reacted and chased towards Yi Mo. "Piss off." Yi Mo stopped and said without remorse. Not only the girl was shocked, but so was all the students around the school. Someone actually told Princess Chi to piss off. Was this guy drunk? This girl was also shocked. It was the first time she was told to piss of. However, she reacted real quick and immediately said, "I have nothing to do with Zhang He. Don't misunderstand me." Then, she charged up and attempted to grab Yimo's sleeve. Zhang, he was extremely furious. The girl he liked said she had nothing with him in front of him to explain to another guy. Yimo was so angry he laughed instead. He was just asking for the way and asked out such a problem. He pulled the girl's hand away, then looked coldly and said, "You have nothing with him just because you say so? I don't think a woman like you would have nothing with anyone. I'm not interested in a woman like you the slightest bit. Don't pester me or don't blame me for what happens next." The girl was shocked. She didn't expect there would be such a person like Yi Mo, ignoring her beauty like it was nothing. In her view, it would be the guy's honor that she used him for a shield, but this guy was completely different. She couldn't accept this at all. She was arrogant and had nothing with the Zhang He, but this male student said such words. At this moment, she calmed herself and looked at Yi Mo. Other than a different temperament, this student had a handsome face with distinctive features, as well as this out-of-this-world temperament, making her forget to rebuke Yi Mo's words. Beiwei, Yumo's spirit sense, scanned a girl walking to a classroom with her head low. It was obviously Tang Beiwei. At this moment, he had no mood to waste time with this woman, so he took a few steps over. When the girl reacted, Yemo was already tens of meters away. He-Chi was stunned. She didn't even see how Yemo left. All that remained was a back figure. She rubbed her eyes. Did she see wrong? However, Zhang he put down the phone and sneered at Yemo's back. He originally only planned on making Yemo suffer a little, but he was really pissed now. Beiwei, what's wrong? Yemo saw Tang Beiwei, didn't go in the classroom, but cry in a dark corner. Tang Beiwei suddenly heard Yemo's voice and drastically looked up. She was dazed for a moment before calling out, "Big brother." She ran into Yemo's arms and started crying. Yemo grabbed the necklace on Tang Beiwei's chest, and his face sunk. It was obviously activated before, meaning that somebody had attacked her. He patted Tang Beiwei's shoulder and said, "Beiwei, what happened? Why are you so skinny? Did someone attack you as well?" Tang Beiwei took a breath of relief and rubbed her eyes. Then she looked up at Yemo and said, "Big brother, I thought I wouldn't be able to see you again. I couldn't reach your phone, Don't rush, talk slowly. You still haven't eaten dinner, right? Let's go, we'll talk as we eat dinner." Yemo helped Tang Beiwei wipe her tears and comforted her. Tang Beiwei, you're quite bold. You dare to be with another guy so intimately. A guy wearing a black shirt took out his phone. He coldly looked at Tang Beiwei as he spoke. Then he immediately made a call as though he was reporting to someone. Tang Beiwei, you're quite bold. You dare to be with another guy so intimately. A guy wearing a black shirt took out his phone. He coldly looked at Tang Beiwei as he spoke. Then he immediately made a call as though he was reporting to someone. Not just this guy, but tens of other students were all looking on. Their eyes were either filled with pity or sympathy. Some emotional girls were already worrying for Yemo. Although it was fun being with the prettiest girl in Tandu, but the following consequence wouldn't be what he could deal with. This guy looked pretty handsome too. Brother Qian, Tang Beiwei is actually hugging with another student. Yes, just below our building. Oh, okay. The guy hung up and sneered to Yemo while walking over slowly. "Punk, you dare to touch the woman Brother Qian," he pre-ordered. As soon as this man spoke, two other guys came from behind him. These two signaled the one who made the call and surrounded Yemo and Tang Beiwei. "Leave Tang Beiwei aside. Break this guy's leg first," the first guy said to the other two. They dared to look at his sister like an item, and they would even break the person's leg as long as they made contact with his sister without even asking questions. Yemo's killing intent rose. Wait. Just when the few guys were about to attack, the girl from before came over and yelled. The man who made the call stopped and looked at He-Chi before saying, "Sister Chi, this is Brother Qian's order. It's best you don't get involved otherwise." The He-Chi girl's face changed. Obviously, she knew who he was and felt threatened by him. However, she still said to Yemo, "I didn't know you had such relationship with Tang Beiwei. Leave her quickly and apologize. Otherwise, if something happens, don't blame me for not reminding you." Yemo coldly looked at He-Chi. "Move aside. Don't piss me off or I'll beat you too." Yemo had no good impression whatsoever of this woman. He-Chi finally couldn't take Yemo's attitude anymore. Her face changed and wanted to say something, but eventually didn't. She really moved aside, but her eyes were full of contempt. After the girl moved away, Yemo scanned the student who made the call and slowly said, "You said you were going to break my leg just then." "Indeed, but now it won't just be that. Your hand needs to be broken too, charge." Then the guy charged up and smashed towards Yemo's face with his fist. The two guys from the side also came up kicking towards Yemo's left and right leg. Obviously, it wasn't the first time they were fighting together and had good cooperation. Before Tang Beiwei reacted, Yemo had already jumped up and kicked out his foot. This foot kicked over the left guy before kicking into the front guy's wrist. And that wasn't the end. It continued to kick into the left leg the right guy kicked out. When these three were kicked into a pile by Yemo landed with Tang Beiwei. It was a perfect 360 turn, and these three didn't even turn Yemo's clothes. So handsome. People were already cheering, kicking 3 people with one kick and spinning a circle in the air with someone in his arms. This was too awesome. This Hichi looked at Yemo in a daze. She just remembered that Yemo left her without her even noticing. There were rays in her eyes. She had an instinct that this handsome guy was no ordinary person. Tang Beiwei looked at the 3 guys kicked onto the ground. She didn't talk and wasn't surprised. She knew how strong her brother was. He even killed people. Yemo walked over, looked at the 3 guys, and said once again, "Just then you said you were going to break my hand and leg, right?" "That's right, punk. Don't think you can be arrogant just because you know a few moves. You won't be able to die even if you want to after offending Brother Qianhe. You dare to mess with Brother Qian, and take his woman. You don't want to live anymore, arg." The guy could no longer talk because Yemo had stepped on his mouth. Yemo could crush the guy's entire head, but with so many students watching, he didn't want to do that. He just broke off all of his teeth, leaving behind a mouth full of blood. Arg. The guy didn't expect Yemo to be so cruel. However, he didn't expect that what followed next would be more cruel. Yemo kicked a few times, producing a terrifying cracking sound. In that moment, Yemo broke all of their limbs. The students looked on in shock. This guy seemed very amicable, but he was so cruel when he attacked. Not only did he beat up Qianhe's men, but he also crushed all of their limbs. This wasn't breaking, but pulverizing. These 3 students were gone, but so was this guy. He was really gone. He messed with someone he couldn't mess with. The people around didn't expect this to not be over yet. Yemo kicked the 3 unconscious guys into a pond before leaving with Tang Beiwei. After a while, people remembered that if they didn't pick the 3 up, they would drown to death. This wasn't a fight, it was murder. Hichi looked and shivered. Although she had seen many cruel people and heard about the stories in mafias, but this was the first time she saw someone almost kill in a school. This person was too cruel. However, the 3 guys didn't drown to death. As soon as Yemo left, their men dragged the 3 out and sent them to the hospital. But most people knew that even if they were sent to the hospital, they would have to spend their life on wheelchair. "Brother." Tang Beiwei worriedly called out. Yemo waved his hand and said, "Don't worry, Beiwei, we siblings won't mess with other people. But other people can't mess with us." "As long as I still have a last breath left, no one can touch you," Tang Beiwei hummed. The fear and depression that had been suffocating her for 2 months were finally starting to dissipate. "Tell me what happened later. This has just started, and I won't let it go like this. Is my sister so easily bullied?" "They're blind." Yemo saw the terror in Tang Beiwei's and felt more furious. "This student, stop." When Yemo and Tang Beiwei reached the school gate, a security guard with a black stick stopped them. Yemo pulled Tang Beiwei behind him and coldly looked at the security guard. "What? This student can't leave the school yet." The security guard pointed at Tang Beiwei. If he didn't see Yemo teach those few guys a lesson, perhaps he would have attacked Yemo already. Yemo's eyes went cold. He didn't need the guard to explain, and he knew why. This guy had quite a lot of power. He actually guarded his sister and imprisoned her in the school. Yemo walked up, and before the guard could react, he had already picked him up by the neck. Then he slapped him before kicking him away, crashing into a wall, unable to move. Then he slowly said, "I'm taking her out today. What can you do?" Although he taught the guard a lesson and the other two guards didn't dare to move, Yemo was getting more and more unhappy. This was a university. Why was it like a private backyard for hoodlums? What **T university was this? As soon as Yemo left with Tang Beiwei, a top-of-the-range rover charged into the school grounds. It stopped it where Yemo beat up those guys. A fierce man got off the car. He had two sturdy bodyguards behind him. The fierce man's face sunk and asked, "What happened?" A guy broke Bao brother and them's limbs. They were sent to the hospital, and this man took away Tang Beiwei. We were no match for him. Immediately, two guys came and spoke carefully. At this moment, the two guards rushed over and saluted to this fierce man before saying, "Young master, someone took away Tang Beiwei just then and beat our guard." Useless. This fierce man swore and continued, "He dares to touch the woman I pre-ordered. He wants to King Dai." The police sirens sounded, and 4 police cars drove into the school grounds. A middle-aged policeman got off the first car. He saw the fierce man and immediately ran over, saying respectfully, "Young master, someone called us saying you've suffered some losses. I came immediately." The fierce man nodded. "Lao Wu, good job. Investigate where the man took Tang Beiwei and notify me. You don't need to worry about capturing him." "Yes, young master, I'll be going then." The police officer then went into the police car and left. The fierce man looked at the leaving police car, and his eyes grew cold. "You dare to take my woman and break my subordinate's limbs. If I let you walk out of Tandu, then I don't need to live." Shillong restaurant wasn't too far from the university, and it was near the lake. Moreover, the environment was elegant, though the price was a little expensive. Shillong restaurant wasn't too far from the university, and it was near the lake. Moreover, the environment was elegant, though the price was a little expensive. "Brother, the things here are very expensive. Let's go another place," Tang Beiwei said. Yemo waved his hand and said, "No need, eat here. If people come later, I can let them go take a shower in the lake. I've earned some money recently, and I still have a few millions." Yemo knew that the person who could imprison his sister in the school had extraordinary power, perhaps even not far from the Song family. "A few million? How do you have so much? I still haven't used the card you gave me last time." Although Tang Beiwei was shocked, she thought about the fireball charms and understood. Each one of those would probably sell for quite a lot. Yemo brought Tang Beiwei to the second floor in a private room near the lake, and after the waiter served water, he asked, "Tell me what happened? How is your mother?" Tang Beiwei's eyes darkened after a while. She slowly said, "I gave my mother the pill you gave me. She got better in just a day. I originally had enough money to take her to do surgery, but I still wanted to wait for you. Don't worry, 99% of the diseases are no problem for me." Yemo smiled. Tang Beiwei nodded. I was thinking so as well, but the second day a man in his 50s came to my house. When Mother saw him, she was very excited and talked to him for a long time. I heard Mother cry from outside. Yemo frowned. This person seemed to come at this time, too coincidentally. Tang Beiwei sunk into that day's memory as she spoke. Tang Beiwei felt strange. Usually, there were no guests in the house, and she had never seen this middle-aged man before. However, when her mother saw him, she was stunned. Who was he? He talked with her mother for a long time. Her mother's voice was very excited and kept sniffing, but the man's voice was very calm. "Beiwei." Tang Beiwei heard her mother's crying and wanted to go in and see, but her mother called her from inside. Tang Beiwei quickly went inside and saw the man holding her mother's hand. She was shocked. She didn't know who the man was, but she had a guess that this was the person who abandoned her. She didn't expect he had the face to come back. However, her mother was too kind-hearted and believed him so quickly. "Beiwei, this is Uncle Song I told you." Before Tang Jing finished, Tang Beiwei immediately understood. That must have been the man her mother was talking about. She immediately pointed at the man and swore, "Piss off! Don't come to my house again. You harmed my mother before, and now you're here to harm her again. Piss off!" Tang Beiwei thought about the hardship her mother had been in and felt more contempt towards this man. He harmed his mother for her entire life, and now he dared to come back. Tang Jing's ruddy face immediately became pale. She quickly sat up and said, "Beiwei, don't curse at Qiming. He had his troubles. When he wanted to come find me, I had already left Beijing, Beiwei." Tang Beiwei rushed beside her mother and helped her up while staring coldly at Song Qiming. "Go! I won't curse you anymore due to Mom. Stop trying to trick my mum." Song Qiming looked at Tang Beiwei in shock. No wonder Dongfang, she wanted to use her to seduce Yi Mo. This Tang Beiwei was too pretty, but she wasn't his daughter. If Tang Jing didn't tell him, he would have thought Tang Beiwei was his daughter. Thinking about Tang Jing's miscarriage, he finally had some guilt, but it then disappeared very quickly. "Beiwei, please don't make Mum." Tang Jing saw that the person she had lived with for most of her life being so aggressive towards the lover she had forgiven and spat out blood in a fit of worry. Tang Beiwei no longer dared to say anything about Song Qiming. She quickly came up and helped her mother up. "Mom, sorry, what's wrong?" "Beiwei, forgive Qiming, he really didn't mean it, Before Tang Jing finished, she started breathing heavily. Song Qiming brought a tub of water and washed Tang Jing carefully. Then he looked at Tang Beiwei and said, "Beiwei, regardless of whether you believe me, the biggest mistake of my life is not finding your mother. Now that I found her, even if I use up my remaining years, I will treat her condition and I won't let her stay outside anymore. I want to get your mother to Beijing. How about I help you transfer schools and you can come as well?" Tang Beiwei coldly looked at Song Qiming and ignored him. She didn't believe the cruel-hearted person would repent. Although Tang Beiwei didn't know what happened, she didn't trust Song Qiming. "Mom, are you really going to Beijing?" Tang Beiwei really didn't want to leave her mother, and she didn't want her mother to go Beijing's Song family either. She immediately knew she was wrong. Her mother just grabbed Song Qiming's hand. Her eyes were full of hope and happiness that she didn't even hear her daughter's words. Tang Beiwei suddenly felt sad. She had been living with her mother for more than 20 years, and her mother treated like a real daughter. But this Song guy stole away his mother as soon as he came. Was this the power of love? She knew she was being tricked, but she still lied to herself to believe the Song guy. She suddenly remembered Yi Mo. Was her mother's desperation to see this Song man the same as her desperation to see her brother? No, her feelings were sibling feelings, and it was different to her mother. But she felt something wasn't right. If it was kinship, she felt she was closer with her mother than Yi Mo. Although Yi Mo was her brother, she felt he was more of a friend. "Beiwei, come to Beijing with me as well. I'm worried about you staying at Tandu by yourself." Tang Jing finally remembered her daughter. Tang Beiwei's heart sunk. This Song man made her mother completely trust him in half a day. If she knew earlier this would happen, she wouldn't have let him in. "Mom, I want to stay here and wait for brother." Tang Beiwei wanted to stay with Yi Mo more. If her mother didn't leave, it would be best if the three of them could live together. But her mother wanted to go to the Song family. Tang Jing shook her head, grabbed Tang Beiwei's hand, and said after half a beat, "Beiwei, I'll be rest assured if you stay with brother. Your brother gave you so much money the first time he saw you. I can tell he loves you a lot. I'm not worried. You've suffered quite a lot living with me all these years. Your mother is very useless." "No, Mom." Tang Beiwei felt more sad and didn't want to leave her mother. However, for the first time, she saw her constantly depressed mother feel happiness, so couldn't tell her mother to not leave her. Song Qiming looked at Tang Jing in confusion. "Brother?" Tang Jing immediately told him that Tang Beiwei was siblings with Yemo. Hearing this, Song Qiming's face changed. No wonder Dongfang, she was going to use Tang Beiwei, was a bait. It wasn't due to beauty, but because they were siblings. This Dongfang, she was malevolent indeed. But looking at Tang Beiwei, Dongfang, she's plan failed for sure. If he succeeded, Tang Beiwei wouldn't be in state. What's wrong, Qiming? All of Tang Jing's attention was on Song Qiming. Song Qiming's face changed for a while before sighing. I also know that Yemo, he's someone powerful, but our Song family offended him, and now he wants revenge on the Song family. I sigh. I didn't expect he was Beiwei's brother. Huh. Tang Jing also yelled out in surprise, but she immediately understood the relations and turned to Tang Beiwei and said, Beiwei, can you persuade your brother to let Qiming go? Tang Beiwei immediately began to suspect Song Qiming's purpose. Perhaps he already knew that she was siblings with Yemo and came to her for mercy. Seeing that Tang Beiwei didn't talk, Tang Jing was more worried and said, Beiwei. Her eyes were full of anxiety. Tang Beiwei sighed. Mother, I don't really know about what my brother does. I'll ask him then. Although she didn't want to agree, her mother's hopeful eyes made her feel very bad. Her mother brought her up for more than 20 years, working tirelessly. She really couldn't reject this request. Hearing about this, Yemo's face was bleak. Song Qiming, even if you get the god of the heavens, I will still annihilate your Song family. Tang Beiwei finished and saw Yemo not talk. Then she continued. Then that Song Qiming bowed to me and begged for mercy, but I ignored him. However, my mother said I must beg for mercy from you. My mother was taken to Beijing by him. I didn't want to go, so I stayed. I really don't understand why mother would listen to that Song Qiming. Even. Tang Beiwei really couldn't finish her words. Her mother was number one in her heart. She must have been first in her mother's heart too, but she didn't expect her to be worse than Song Qiming in front of love. Yemo knew that since Song Qiming took away Tang Jing, when he goes for revenge at the Song family in Beijing, the Song family would push out Tang Beiwei's mother for sure. No matter what, he can't let the mother who raised Tang Beiwei for more than 20 years be hurt. This Song Qiming was really malicious. We'll put this aside first. Who did you offend at the university? How dare he act against you like this? Yemo wanted to know who was targeting his sister. We'll talk after we eat. Yemo looked at Tang Beiwei's distressed look and knew she was troubled heavily by this recently. We'll talk after we eat. Yemo looked at Tang Beiwei's distressed look and knew she was troubled heavily by this recently. Tang Beiwei nodded and felt more comfortable after telling what happened with her mother. And, since this restaurant's food was quite good, she had a big appetite. Those people who watch me call their boss Qian, no one dares to mess with him in Tan. I only knew I was already in their list a long time ago when I came back. However, they brought my name forward. Tang Beiwei ate some things and felt more energy. Yemo dazed. What list? Tang Beiwei said that Qian, he is a demon. I don't know why he is still able to roam free today, but he has harmed a lot of girls, from those in high school to those in uni. He has a list with girls' names on it. It's not just from school, but as long as there's a girl he wants, he would write it into his list. Then Tang Beiwei subconsciously moved more towards Yemo before saying, when I was in third year, I was already in his list. His list is very clear which day, what place, and which girl he needs. There's an order. Originally, he would take me a few months later, but after I came back from Wuliang Mountain and ate the face-preserving pill, I was brought forward. It said he would take me away at the end of the month. End of the month? Isn't it only a few days? Yemo was shocked. If he came back a few days late, the consequences were unimaginable. Tang Beiwei nodded. I originally didn't know we had a school queen called Cici. I was very close to her. A month ago, she was taken away. When she came back, her face was tawny. When she found me, I knew that she saw that list, and I was one of that. And she also heard those people discussing about me. She told me to run as soon as possible, and after she told me that, she ran away herself that night. Why didn't you go? Yemo asked strangely. Tang Bei-wei shook her head. The night she ran away, she was captured, and the next day, I heard the report of her jumping off the building. I know she didn't do it because someone did this to her. Then, I wanted to leave the school, but the guard didn't let me leave. I realized that I was being watched everywhere and had to wait until I was taken away. Yi Mo's face was getting bleaker by the moment. Such overt defiance of the law. Tang Bei-wei continued. A few days ago, I borrowed a friend's phone to call the police. The second day, my friend had a beating. The injuries were very serious, and he was sent to the hospital. Luckily, you gave me a necklace. That night, someone wanted to attack me, probably to teach me a lesson, but he was bounced away by the necklace. So, I always kept a few fireball charms on me. If they were really going to take me away, I would use the fireball charm to hit them, but I knew I only had a few. If you didn't come back, I might still fall into their hands. Yemo sunk into silence. He didn't understand why the guy needed so many girls. Was he really cultivating some evil art like in the cultivation world and needed virgins? This wasn't too realistic. After all, those types of cultivation methods were very rare even in the cultivation realm, much less here. Brother, today is the day I'm most relieved. I don't want to go to Shifan University anymore. I've already graduated. I originally planned on continuing my studies, but now I don't dare to go there. The worry in Tang Bei-wei's eyes weren't completely gone yet. Just when Yemo wanted to speak, the room's door was kicked open and 3 men went in. Tang Bei-wei subconsciously moved closer to Yemo and worriedly said, Brother, I've seen one of them go to our school. It's the tallest one. Cece was taken away by him. As soon as she finished, the tallest man had walked over and grabbed towards Tang Bei-wei. You dare to run. I want to see where you can run to. The girls from your school are intolerable. Not only one wants to run. Yemo's eyes went cold and kicked onto the tall man's face. This man was immediately kicked flying and smashed into the wall. Smash! The wall broke, showing the other room. A few customers were eating inside and were shocked by the scene. Before the other 2 men could react, Yemo went up and stomped on the tall man so hard that he bled from every hole on his body. Suddenly, organs were spat out from his mouth. At this moment, those customers reacted and immediately ran out of the room. At the same time, the 2 other men was frozen, seeing that Yemo stomped the man to death as soon as they met. Then, Yemo turned around and looked coldly at the other 2. Did you 2 come to just die? You actually killed Black Panther. One of them pointed at Yemo and said, He didn't dare to go up and attack Yemo. I killed him. What are you going to do? Yemo sneered. Nice powers. We're no match for you. Of course, we don't dare to anything. Goodbye. The long-faced man spoke, worried. He knew that Black Panther could beat them 1v2, but Black Panther was no match for the person in front of them. They would just die even if they went up. Yemo wiped his hands with a tissue on the table. You think you can come and go as you please? Do you think I'm so easy to visit? What do you want? The long-faced man stared nervously at Yemo. If Yemo attacked, they were no match for sure, and Yemo killed more cruelly than them. Even they didn't dare to kill openly in the streets, but this person did. All they thought right now was how to escape. Nothing. You 2 carry this dead guy away. Yemo pointed at the tall man. The long-faced man immediately agreed. Okay. We'll go immediately. Air Tai, carry Black Panther, and let's retreat. Although Tang Bei-wei had seen Yemo kill, and she had killed with a fireball charm before, she couldn't help but feel revolted by this bloody scene. Yemo grabbed Tang Bei-wei's hand and sent some qi over, helping her calm her stomach. Then he said, Bei-wei, I will go with them. Tang Bei-wei immediately said, Brother, I will go with you. I'm scared to stay here alone. Okay, in that case, let's go together. I'm just worried you won't be able to take the scene. Yemo nodded and said, It doesn't matter. As long as you're there, I won't be afraid. Tang Beiwei knew this brother she just met was no ordinary person. Just as he said he knew Dao magic. She didn't need to worry about her brother. Those who knew Dao magic were like those in the fairy tales. The long-faced man was surprised and looked at Yemo. Why you're going back with us? Yemo sneered. What? Didn't you guys come to invite me? Now I'll do as you want and go with you guys. Is that not okay? It's fine, it's fine. Air Tai, carry Black Panther. Let's go back immediately. The long-faced man was decisive and quickly left. Yemo walked to the front desk, took out his card and said, I'll pay by card. The chubby manager at the front desk was already shaking uncontrollably. You've already paid, no need. He didn't dare to ask these people for money. These people killed, and he didn't even dare to call the police. Yemo knew that the three men probably warned the manager, so he didn't bother to waste time with him. He held Tang Beiwei's hand and went on a Land Rover with the long-faced man. The car drove out of the city. It was very fast and came to a private mansion in the rural in less than an hour. To be exact, this wasn't a mansion, but a private ranch. There was a large patch of forest and an artificial lake. Yemo came here and found this place to be familiar. He came here with Wendong to exchange the model. He didn't expect to come here a second time, but last time the mansion was blown up. It had only been 1 year, and the mansion was built again, and it was even prettier than before. Yemo sneered. He didn't expect he would encounter this mansion twice. It meant those who lived here had bad luck. The car stopped in front of the ranch. The guard checked and let them in. Take them in. When the long-faced man got off the car, a man with a knife scar on his face came over. The knife scars had 2 black men behind him. Killing intent spewed out when the knife-scarred man looked at Yemo, but he didn't attack. Knowing someone would deal with Yemo, he didn't need to do anything. Obviously, word has spread of Yemo killing Black Panther. Yemo held Tang Beiwei's hand and followed the long-faced man into the hall. Tang Beiwei was a little worried. The people here looked ferocious, and each had weapons as though it was a secret organization of the government. Before Yemo went in, he scanned. There were more than 10 in the hall. Clap. Clap. When Yemo walked in, a monotone clap sounded. Not bad. You got balls. Not only do you dare to kill my men, but you also have the guts to come here. But no matter how much balls you have, you will die after you offend me. Niawubian. Niawubian? Yemo suddenly remembered that seductive Nya Schwang here and her words. I'm still a virgin. Qian He, what do you want bringing me here? I know you have a lot of power, but Ahichi won't be afraid of you. Yemo heard a familiar voice. Qian He, what do you want bringing me here? I know you have a lot of power, but Ahichi won't be afraid of you. Yemo heard a familiar voice. Yemo turned around and saw the girl who wanted to use him was also brought here. She seemed to have some power, judging from her tone. But didn't this guy just call himself Nya Wubian? How did he become Qian He? Qian He you. Hichi walked in and saw the Qian He who she said had a lot of power stood respectfully below. Sitting at the very top wasn't Qian He. Yemo studied Nya Wubian. He had long hair, white face, and no facial hair. His eyes were demonic and looked in his 30s. He had black-level elementary stage peak power. Other than that Otanhu, he had never seen someone who had black-level power in the city. Qian He? Haha, he's just one of my dog. You are Hichi. You look quite good. It's your fortune being able to come here. Tang Beiwei, you're even better. Last time, someone said you're the prettiest flower in Tan. I didn't believe him, but now it seems to true. You are indeed the prettiest woman I have seen, and you're still a virgin. Not bad, not bad. You're even prettier than my Mei, MHM. Qianhe, you've done great. It's very useful, leaving such a pretty woman for me at the end of the month, Nia Wubian said. He Qi then realized that Emo and Tang Beiwei was also here and said in shock, "How are you guys here too?" Yi Emo didn't reply and studied the place. Within the range of his spirit sense, there were 36 people altogether. Other than the strongest Nia Wubian, that Qian, he was already yellow level middle stage. Although it was a short time, Yi Emo was sure this was no place where the rich played with women. This Nia Wubian seemed eerie, and Yi Emo didn't know why he needed so many women. He Qi stopped after one sentence. She seemed to realize her situation. Since Qian, he was only a slap dog, then it meant this eerie-eyed youth was perhaps much more powerful. Nia Wubian coldly looked at Yi Emo. "I really admire your courage. You think you can do whatever you want just because you learnt some martial arts? I'll show you what is real martial arts today. Bring the two here." Yi Emo didn't talk. He really wanted to go on a carnage now, but Tang Beiwei was here. The scene would be too bloody. He was worried his sister wouldn't be able to take it. If he used fireball, this He Qi was still here. He didn't want to kill her, so he must not reveal his powers in front of her. Just when he was hesitating, he saw the two men who went to capture him being brought up. Their face was pale, and their legs were shaking. Obviously, they didn't expect to be punished after coming back. Nia Wubian walked to the long-faced man and smiled. "You've done well. You talk about how strong someone else is and don't even dare to attack him. Why do I need dogs like you? Waste of food. Grandpa Nia, forgive us." The two knelt on the ground with their teeth shaking. I said, "I don't need useless men." Then Nia Wubian raised his palm and struck twice. Blood shot high in the air, splashing on Nia Wubian, making him seem more hideous. However, he actually licked the blood on his hand and relished the taste. At this moment, their heads rolled out far. Arg. He Qi, who originally thought this wasn't much of a deal, could no longer take this gruesome scene and dropped unconscious on the ground. Tang Beiwei's face was pale and her heart raced. Yi Emo quickly pressed her meridian to faint her and put her next to He Qi. "Not bad. You have some balls. No wonder you dare to kill my men." Nia Wubian looked coldly at Yi Emo, and the derision on his mouth was getting more potent. Yi Emo had noticed this Nia Wubian was only black level elementary stage, but his Qi was almost equivalent to black level middle stage. It really wasn't simple to decapitate two heads with just pure inner Qi. "I'm thinking, do you want to fight me now? Or have you lost your courage?" Nia Wubian seemed like an eagle looking at a chicken. Yi Emo looked at Nia Wubian and sighed. He also smiled and said, "I really agree to your words. If you think you can do what you want just by learning a few moves, then I'm sorry. I wanted to say the same thing to you. I'll show you what real martial arts is." Then Yi Emo raised his hand and swiped his palm left and right. There were 18 people in the hall, and Yi Emo stopped after swiping 16 times. "Haha, arrogant fool, you want to copy me and use inner Qi." Nia Wubian's voice suddenly stopped here. His face was full of shock as he looked at his 16 men. Blood spewed out. It was like a slaughter ground. 16 heads and 32 arms fell on the ground. Then all of them fell to the ground together as though they were trained to do so. The direction they fell to was the same. Nia Wubian was stunned. "I'm dreaming. This must be a dream." He kept explaining to himself. But he knew this wasn't a dream. It was real. Qian, he was more shocked and didn't dare to say a thing. Finally, there was terror in Nia Wubian's eyes. Cultivating till now, he had never known terror, but today he knew what terror was. When he killed his two men, he used a gruesome way to kill them, trying to scare this young man. He did scare one, but that was He Qi, and this young man seemed to be fine. But then the young man used more gruesome means than him. Even he had never seen such a bloody scene. He was sure this youth's action was intentional, slapping him hard in the face. Yi Emo walked over Nia Wubian. Nia Wubian moved aside subconsciously and kept retreating. Yi Emo ignored him and sat down in the chair where Nia Wubian was sitting before, and then he coldly looked at Nia Wubian. "You, who are you?" At Nia Wubian's terror, he realized this young man was far stronger than him, perhaps even in Earth level. He didn't know which chromosome he was missing. Why did he mess with someone like that? Yi Emo sneered. "I've seen people like you, it's not just you. Not long ago, there was someone called Lone Wolf. Apparently he's strong, but I killed him in 3 swords. And another sect called Broken Fist Hall. Their leader Zheng Qingfa brought his sect members to kill me, but I killed them all. But you seem to have a few days less training than them. Why are you so cocky?" "Qian Bei, please have mercy." Nia Wubian could no longer hold the terror in his heart and knelt down. Who was this guy in front of him? Why was all the people he killed at Earth level? His petty power was nothing compared to Yi Emo. Qian, his face was paler after realizing his master had encountered a tough one. "Do you know why I still haven't killed you now?" Yi Emo coldly looked at Nia Wubian and said. Nia Wubian's entire body was shaking now. He finally knew what it felt like to look at death in the face. Before, it was always other people begging for mercy in front of him, but now he was begging in front of someone else. Yi Emo scanned Qian He. "You dare to hit on my sister. You're quite bold. But do you know why I haven't killed you?" Qian, he was shaking and couldn't even say a single word. Although he was very fierce, he couldn't help but to shake facing such a gruesome scene. Yi Emo ignored him and looked at Nia Wubian. "A year ago, I blew this place to rubble and killed everyone here. I didn't expect to come back here a year later. It seems I'm quite connected to this place." Nia Wubian was full of regret. Why couldn't he choose another random city? "Qian Bei, have mercy on me." Nia Wubian didn't want to die. His talent was the best in the sect. How could he die? But now, he really didn't know who could save him. Perhaps even his master couldn't. Yi Emo threw out fireballs casually and the bodies were all burned. And even those 2 who were killed by Nia Wubian were turned to flying dust. Nia Wubian was completely shocked. He was still thinking if he could escape if the Qian Bei didn't let him go, but now he knew he couldn't. This person could even shoot out fireballs. In the years he was cultivating the hidden sects, he had never heard of anyone who can shoot out fireballs to attack. He saw Yi Emo's eyes grow colder and couldn't stop his head from sweating. He said, "Qian Bei, I'm from 4-State 9 Moons Temple. I came to Tan due to refining energy due to reaching black level, so I needed a lot of virgins, but I haven't killed them. I just took their... there is actually such an evil sect. Your sect no longer needs to exist. You didn't kill them. Then what happened to my sister's friend Cece?" Yi Emo's eyes were freezing cold. He wasn't some hero of justice, but even he couldn't allow such a malignant sect to exist. Yes. Nia Wubian was sweating. Yi Emo walked beside him and kicked on his chest. Nia Wubian felt some sort of fire surge into his dantian, which stayed in there. Although he knew it wasn't something good, he didn't dare to resist. "Go kill the remaining 18 people and bring the bodies here," Yi Emo said with a plain face. He wouldn't let anyone here go. Nia Wubian didn't expect Yi Emo to be this easy to talk to. He actually told him to go out and kill people. Then, couldn't he have run away using that opportunity? Nia Wubian didn't expect Yi Emo to be this easy to talk to. He actually told him to go out and kill people. Then, couldn't he have run away using that opportunity? "If you want to run, go ahead." Yi Emo's voice was cold. "No, I definitely won't dare to run." Nia Wubian quickly retreated. He knew that this youth could do things faster. Nia Wubian thought that if he acted obediently, Then perhaps this youth would let him go. Qian. He saw Nie Wubian go out to kill people, and his legs were shaking more. You're very cocky, aren't you? How does it feel so good to be a dog? Tell me, how many people does Nie Wubian has left in Tandu? Yi Emo thought that it would be too easy on Qian, he to just kill him. At this moment, Qian, he calmed down a little and quickly replied, Yeah, everyone is here because they need to go back at the end of the month. I don't know why. Since you don't know anything, then go die. Yi Emo sent out a fireball, but this fireball burned from inside to outside. Qian, he was surrounded by the fireball, but couldn't die instantly. He could only howl in pain, but no matter how much he screamed, he couldn't make any sound. In this short time, Nie Wubian had killed everyone and brought them all in. He saw Qian He, who gradually lost all hope from the fireball, and felt as though he was being bitten on the back by a snake. This person could control fire to such a terrifying degree. Burning Qian, he inside the fireball. Nie Wubian could no longer resist it and ran. He would rather commit suicide than to be slowly burnt to death, like Qian He. This young man wasn't a human, but rather the devil. He himself had killed countless people, but had never expected to see such a demon. But when he just reached the door, a gust of fire burned from his dantian. He felt his internal organs were going to be charred. Nie Wubian could no longer endure such torture and patted his hand with his other hand. Yi Emo no longer looked at Qian, who didn't have much life left. He carried his sister and dragged He Chi and walked out of the mansion. He smashed a few fireballs onto the mansion from outside. The fire grew big. Yi Emo sighed. He had actually destroyed the mansion here twice, but he knew that people would come soon after the fire got bigger. He didn't want trouble, so he brought his sister and He Chi and left. When it was near the city, he patted He Chi awake. Before she could react, he brought Tang Bei away and left. Brother, are we out already? When Tang Bei woke up, she found out that she was already in the city. She knew that Yi Emo must have solved everything there and taken her back. Yi Emo nodded. It's done. Do you still have anything left at the school? If you don't, then let's go immediately. I'll take you to car racing, and after that, we'll go Beijing. If you still have something, then we'll go pick it up. Tang Bei knew that Yi Emo's done meant completely done, so she felt relieved. I still have some minor things left, and I need to say goodbye to the people in my dorm, and I still have a schoolmate in the hospital. She was beaten up after she lent me the phone. I haven't been able to go visit her. Okay, then we'll go to the hospital first and treat your friend. Tang Beiwei's friend was hurt due to her. Thus he had to help her friend. Tan Kong Hospital. Chong Yuan looked at the ceiling. She didn't know what her future was. She just lent a phone to Beiwei and had her legs broken, as well as 3 of her ribs. The hospital came to the conclusion that she might have to sit in a wheelchair for the rest of her life. She wasn't satisfied. She was only 20 or so, but her life was ruined like this. However, she didn't dare to call the police because she knew that if she did, she might get herself into a worse state. That powerful faction was not a simple one. Cece was forced to jump off by them. Although she regretted lending the phone a little, she didn't blame Tang Beiwei because she knew Tang Beiwei's situation might be worse than hers. Chong Yuan's Mum's eyes were red. Her father just said to call the police and was beaten up as well. Although it wasn't serious, Chong Yuan's family knew that there was no way they could beat them. Yuan, how are you? Tang Beiwei opened the door and saw Yuan with numb eyes. She felt regretful. If it wasn't for her, Chong Yuan wouldn't be in such state. Chong Yuan became started. A few seconds later, she reacted. Beiwei, how did you come? Why didn't you run since you got out? Why are you still here? Who is he? Chong Yuan spoke and immediately looked at Yi Emo. She thought that Yi Emo was there to monitor Tang Beiwei. Tang Beiwei's eyes went red. Yuan, he's my brother. Yi Emo, sorry I brought this upon you. Huh, he's the brother you said who could save you? He really saved you? Chong Yuanyuan looked at Yi Mo in shock. She was in the same dorm, and she, of course, knew what was happening with Tang Beiwei. She also knew that Tang Beiwei had found her brother, and that her brother would come to take her away. Yi Mo walked over. Yuanyuan, hello. I'm Beiwei's brother. Sorry, Beiwei brought this on you. This girl's skin was very white. Although she was average-looking, her round face was quite likable. Yuanyuan's eyes grew faint, and she immediately said, Perhaps this is my fate. Beiwei is not to blame for this. Although he saw regret in her eyes, Yimo was still very grateful to this girl. Perhaps before she lent the phone she knew what the consequence would be, but she still lent Tang Beiwei the phone. Yuanyuan, don't worry. My brother said he can cure your leg. Tang Beiwei walked in front of Chong Yuanyuan and comforted her. Chong Yuanyuan immediately froze, but she reacted quickly and grabbed Tang Beiwei's hand, then said shakily, Beiwei, are you being serious? My leg can still be treated? I'm serious. I can cure your leg and make it healthier than before, Yemo interrupted. Although Chong Yuanyuan received the report that her bones were pulverized, she didn't believe Beiwei would lie. She had been friends with Tang Beiwei for so long and trusted Tang Beiwei's character. Although it was impossible to be completely cured of her condition, the desire for health made her rather believe Tang Beiwei's brother for real. Yuanyuan, Dr. Lu has come. He specializes in... A distressed woman opened the door and said, but then she saw Yemo and Tang Beiwei, resulting in her stopping halfway through her words. She looked at Yemo in vigilance. Chong Yuanyuan felt happier because Yemo said he could cure her leg, so she quickly said, Mom, she's my schoolmate, Tang Beiwei, and that's her brother Yemo. Her brother can help me treat my leg. When the distressed woman heard it was Tang Beiwei, her face immediately dropped. Her daughter had become like this due to Tang Beiwei, but she didn't say anything. That Dr. Lu looked at Yemo. Insolence. This is the first time I've heard someone who can completely cure such a condition. Mate, did you just get your graduation certificate? Obviously, this Dr. Lu thought Yemo was a noob. What do you mean? Just because you can't cure it doesn't mean my brother can't. You underestimate people. Tang Beiwei was soft on the outside, but tough on the inside. Plus, Yemo was someone unshakable in her heart. How dare this doctor question her brother? Yemo waved his hand and stopped Tang Beiwei, then looked at Dr. Lu. Just because you can't treat it doesn't mean other people can't. But I haven't gotten my graduation certificate yet. Dr. Lu's face immediately sank and looked at Yemo coldly. Very well then, treat her. Sister Fu, it's not that I don't want to help, but there's a more high-level doctor here to treat your daughter. Goodbye. Then Dr. Lu turned and left. Chong Yuanyuan's mother quickly followed suit. She spent a lot of money to get this specialist here, but was sent away by this ignorant youth. After half a minute, Chong Yuanyuan's mother came back in by herself. She was very unhappy. Not only was her daughter harmed due to Tang Beiwei, but now the specialist she invited was angered by Tang Beiwei's brother and left. It would be strange if she could be happy. Mom, brother, you can really cure me. I don't want fake legs. I trust Beiwei. If Chong Yuanyuan really got a fake leg, then she would really be disabled. Chong Yuanyuan's mother sighed, but she couldn't do anything about it. Auntie, sorry, but please don't worry. I will cure her, Yemo said. Although Chong Yuanyuan's mother was angry, he could understand her. Sigh. The mother didn't say anything. Yemo walked to the bed and said to Chong Yuanyuan, Don't worry, I will treat you now. The few people looked at Yemo bewilderedly. What treatment was Yemo going to use when he had nothing in his hands? Yemo smiled and took out a box of needles as though he was performing a magic trick. Then he told Tang Beiwei to help him pull open the blanket. Haha, you're really funny. You still smell of your mother's breast milk, and you probably only read a few textbooks, but you say you can cure bone marrow necrosis and pulverized bones. Why are all people now so arrogant and boastful? Dr. Liu went back to his office and cursed. Obviously, he was angered by Yi-mo. Haha, you're really funny. You still smell of your mother's breast milk, and you probably only read a few textbooks, but you say you can cure bone marrow necrosis and pulverized bones. Why are all people now so arrogant and boastful? Dr. Liu went back to his office and cursed. Obviously, he was angered by Yi-mo. All the young people nowadays are like that. Old Liu, using my daughter's words, if you take them seriously, you lose, haha. Another middle-aged female doctor at the corner laughed. Dr. Liu patted his head. That's true. The insolent has no fear. Why am I angry with such a young person? I'm just making the patient suffer. Sir, you must not touch the patient. A nurse walked in and stopped Yi-mo. Yi-mo casually pulled her to the side, and the golden needles in his hand landed on Chong Yuan-Yuan's leg in a flurry of shadows. The nurse was stunned by Yi-mo's movements. There was a Chinese medicine doctor in their hospital too, and even their hospital executive was an old Chinese medicine doctor. His skills were very strong, and she had also seen the old doctor use acupuncture, but he was nowhere near as fast. After her shock, she began to suspect if this young man really had skills. But moments later, she reacted. Regardless if this person really had skills, it wasn't something she could decide. She had to report this to the hospital immediately. An outsider was practicing medicine in their hospital. This was no small thing. No one cared about the nurse who ran away, but Chong Yuan-Yuan's mother was shocked. Such speed, it couldn't be reached even if no needle was used. Chong Yuan-Yuan just felt her bones constantly being pierced by the needle, and the needle was pulled out really quickly. She couldn't even feel when it went in and when it came out. She just felt a warm power moving around her leg bones. She could even feel that power made her very comfortable. She even forgot to be embarrassed when Yi-mo placed his hand on her broken ribs near her chest. This was too unfathomable. The nurse just ran out of the door and saw a royally dressed middle-aged woman come down from upstairs. She rushed up and said, "Who executive? Someone is treating a patient in our hospital, and he isn't a doctor of our hospital." Hu exec heard this, and his face sunk. He immediately said, "Call security to stop him immediately." What is he doing now? He's using acupuncture to treat the patient in room 203 on her leg wound. However, his speed is absurdly fast that I can't even see it, the nurse quickly said. Acupuncture? 203? The daughter of the woman who cried in my office last time? Who exec remembered. This woman couldn't take it that her daughter had to get fake legs and cried. "It's her," the nurse replied. "Oh, wait. I'll go have a look first." "Oh, never mind. I'm busy." Who exec seemed to have remembered the middle-aged woman beside him. The woman seemed to be in thought, and when she heard the XX word, she smiled, then said, "This person is interesting. I actually want to go see." The Who exec wanted to see how this person was going to treat the patient with acupuncture, and now that the middle-aged woman asked, he immediately agreed. "Okay, in that case, let's go." Yi-mo knew that two people came into the room, but he didn't know that it was the hospital executive. Even if he did, he wouldn't say anything as long as the exec didn't stop his treatment. Hu Yang looked at Yi-mo's movements and was shocked. He started out from Chinese medicine and was very proficient in Chinese medicine. However, he had never seen someone who could use acupuncture like Yi-mo. His two hands were like a flurry of shadows. The needles in his hands went in and out of the skin. Even he couldn't see where exactly the needles went in, much less see which chakra point it was. The 108 golden needles with Yi-mo's spirit chi continuously recovered Chong Yuan-Yuan's bones, as well as her ribs. As soon as he noticed it was out of place, he would use spirit sense to sense it and his chi to move it back to place and stabilize it. As Yi-mo continued his treatment, Chong Yuan-Yuan became more and more joyful. She could feel it the most. The numbness and pain gradually disappeared, and she could now feel her legs more and more. She even felt she could start walking now. Although Yemo was at stage 3 Qi gathering, this exerted a large amount of Qi, so he couldn't maintain this pace. Sweat kept emitting from his forehead. Tang Beiwei took out a handkerchief and carefully wiped Yemo's sweat for him. Hu Yang and the other middle-aged woman was in shock. They knew they had met a master today. This was a real master. Even Chong Yuanyuan's mother knew that Yi Mo had great capabilities. After an hour, Yi Mo gasped and gave a pill to Chong Yuanyuan. "It's done. Eat this." Chong Yuanyuan took the pill in joy and didn't even think about it before eating it. "Yuanyuan, how do you feel now?" Chong Yuanyuan's mother asked desperately. Chong Yuanyuan tried to move her leg and was able to raise it up. She immediately said in surprise and joy, "Mom, I feel that my leg is completely fine. I can even walk on the ground, and I also don't feel heavy on my chest anymore." Then she realized Mo performed acupuncture on her chest and felt a little embarrassed. Mo smiled. "You can't walk yet. You need to wait for a week before you can." After the nourishment of her bones with his qi, she would need to rest for 1 week, and by then, she would be fully recovered. Chong Yuanyuan's mother was so excited that she was about to bow her head on the ground to Yemo, but Yemo quickly pulled her up. "Thank you. If my Yuanyuan really has to have a fake leg, I really wouldn't know what to do. Thank you, thank you. The doctors in this hospital are all useless. They always say fake legs." Chong Yuanyuan's mother didn't even notice Hu Yang behind her as she swore. Hu Yang didn't even care about the mother's words. He looked in shock as Mo packed away the golden needles. He looked at Chong Yuanyuan, who could raise her leg now, and sighed after a while. He came in front of Mo and bowed. God doctors, I've seen Yuanyuan's case, and I know about it the most, but you actually managed to cure it in such a short time. I've broadened my view today. There really is one mountain that is taller than another." Mo studied Hu Yang before asking, "Who are you?" Hu Yang immediately took out a name card and handed it to Mo respectfully. "I'm the executive of this hospital, Hu Yang. May I ask for your royal surname?" At this moment, Hu Yang no longer dared to treat Mo as a noob. In his heart, Mo was a god. If he could keep a godly doctor like Mo here, perhaps Tenkong Hospital would become a world-renowned hospital. "Oh, I'm Mo." Mo took the name card and looked. He could tell what Hu Yang wanted by looking at his eyes, but that was impossible. As though seeing that Mo was not too enthusiastic about the hospital exec, the woman beside Hu Yang walked up carefully. "Mr. Yi, hello. I'm Peng Haixiang of the Hong Kong D Corporation. I'm flabbergasted by your medical skills today. May I have the honor of having dinner with you?" The wealthy lady beside Hu Yang also had eyes filled with fervor. However, her eyes were more of desire rather than fervor. She took out a name card that was actually made out of pure gold. Mo smiled. "Sorry, I don't have time." Then he turned to Chong Yuanyuan and said, "Yuanyuan, if you have time, let's go eat together in a few days. Thank you for helping Beiwei." "Okay, brother Mo, thank you. If it wasn't for you, I really wouldn't know what to do." Chong Yuanyuan's leg was cured, and she returned to her happiness. Chong Yuanyuan's mother had a face full of gratitude. However, she just didn't know what to say to thank Mo. Just said he didn't have time for food, but then invited Chong Yuanyuan to food in front of their faces. This made Hu Yang and that wealthy lady quite awkward. However, that wealthy lady didn't mind at all and walked up with respect and ingenuity. "Mr. Yi, sorry. I know this is very rude of me, but my husband hasn't been able to get out of the bed due to his illness. He's about to, so I came to Tan Kong Hospital to borrow a Chinese herb from Hu Exec. However, I didn't expect to meet you here. I know you are a master, so I wish to ask you to." Then the wealthy lady's eyes turned red. It seemed she cared a lot about her husband. Mo frowned. He wasn't interested in treating illnesses. He only didn't want to see Chong Yuanyuan lose hope and thus helped her. He should have closed the door before. Seeing Yi Mo not talk, the woman walked up carefully and said, "As long as you cure my husband, I'm willing to pay any price." Yi Mo sighed. He wasn't stone-hearted. Since the woman said this, if he rejected again, it would be too inhumane. Thinking about it, he said, "Okay, this is the only exception. Get people to send your husband here. I will come treat him 2 nights later." The wealthy lady was immediately filled with joy. Thank you so much, God, Dr. Yi. I will go contact them immediately." Yi Mo nodded, and just when he wanted to talk, a fit of sirens sounded. 5 police cars drove into the hospital, and more than 10 policemen charged in and surrounded Yi Mo with guns. Yi Mo saw the policemen surround them and knew they came for him, but he didn't care. Yi Mo saw the policemen surround them and knew they came for him, but he didn't care. "What are you guys doing?" Huyang immediately went up and asked. The middle-aged policeman in front laughed and pushed Huyang aside. "Hu exec, I know you're a respected doctor in Tandu, but please don't obstruct our job. We suspect these 2 to be involved in an arson case. Please move aside." "Officer Wu, we were under your protection when we came here, and we are very thankful to the Tandu police force for that, but this is too absurd saying that God Dr. Yi is an arsonist. He has such magical medical skills. Does he need to be an arsonist?" Pang Haixiang immediately stood out. Regardless if Yi Mo was a suspect, she couldn't let Yi Mo get hurt. This concerned her husband's life. Officer Wu's face looked worse. He looked at Pang Haixiang and said, "Lady Pang, you're an important guest at Tandu, but please don't obstruct our job." Pang Haixiang's face turned grim, but she couldn't say anything else. Yi Mo didn't want to get things bigger in the hospital. Even if there was something, he didn't want so many people to see. This Officer Wu was obviously in the same alliance as Chen He. He wondered if this officer would still be so cocky if he knew that he had killed Chen He and his big boss. "In that case, I will go with you. Sister Pang, I will be here tomorrow night. Just send your husband here. Don't worry about me. I don't need you to do anything either. I will come on time." Yi Mo then sneered at the Officer Wu. "Your own evil deeds will lead to your death." "Humph, come back on time, keep dreaming." Officer Wu sneered. Then he pulled Tang Beiwei into the police car. Officer Wu's face was absolutely grim. This guy was so cocky. He knew that he had a boss behind him. Even Head Commissioner Liu didn't dare to do anything about the boss, but now the mansion he lived at was burnt. Even though he was killed, he still had to forcefully capture the people. Otherwise, how was he going to explain to that big boss? Looking at the police car take Yi Mo away, Pang Haixiang had a face full of worry. Huyang comforted. "Don't worry, I know Vice Commissioner Lin of Tan. I'll give him a call." The few police cars whirled past the road and came to the police department very quick. Officer Wu and another tow cops brought Yi Mo and Tang Beiwei in. Immediately, he picked up the phone on the table and called, saying the people had been brought here. "You're very cocky, but you won't be able to, now that you're in my hands." Officer Wu put down the phone and looked at Yi Mo contemptuously. He had that expression as though he could squish Yi Mo with a single finger. If Yi Mo dared to resist at all, he would immediately fire. However, Tang Beiwei looked at this man hatefully. She knew that this officer dealt with she's police call. In the end, she still wasn't able to escape her fate. It could be seen that this person was definitely affiliated with those trash. Yi Mo looked at the 2 police standing at the door with guns and said to Wu Jingfei, "Can I take this as you threatening me? And you're threatening me with the identity of a cop?" "Huh." Wu Jingfei laughed. "Indeed, I'm threatening you as a cop. What can you do?" "Nothing. If I'm not concerned that this would be hard for Han Zaixin, I would kill you immediately. Though I will still kill you later, but before I do, I need to wait for people to make a verbal verdict. Yi Mo had to kill Wu Jingfei, but it would be too impulsive to kill a cop like this, especially since he had a little status. Although he was proud, he wasn't proud enough to face off against a country. Plus, he had some relatives here and didn't want to overdo things. He was decisive in killing, but it didn't mean he had no brain. Was he going to bring his relatives running around with him everywhere? He didn't believe the strongest people in the country were in flying snow. Han Zixin was an old fox. He wouldn't tell the trump card of the country to him. And Yi Mo wasn't sure if someone had used O Tanhu to massacre his entire family 20 years ago. If even the Song family could find someone like Li Mingqiang, a black-level tertiary stage master, to cooperate with, Yi Mo wouldn't believe it at all if the country couldn't find an Earth-level master to cooperate with. Perhaps things just weren't to that degree yet. Humph! A sneer sounded from outside the door, and a middle-aged man walked in. You are cocky indeed. This is the first time I, Lu Fong, heard someone dare to say killing a cop in the police department. Yi Mo really didn't lie. He had the killing permit. If he was sure of Officer Wu's crimes, he really could kill him immediately. However, if he didn't deal with this properly, it could be used as an excuse for others in competition with Han Zixin. Old Han was not a bad person. He didn't want to give old Han's political enemies any excuses. For him, it was the same whether he killed earlier or later. He didn't mind this time. Hurried footsteps sounded and another person rushed in from the door. It was a fat, middle-aged policeman. He saw Lu Fong and immediately said, Commissioner Lu, Yi Mo is Huexek's friend. How can he be the suspect at the mansion? Was something wrong? Vice Commissioner Lin, this isn't about whether there was a mistake or not. I just heard with my own ears that this Yi Mo said he will kill Wu Jingfei. I won't doubt Wu Jingfei's words at all now. For a social scum that dares to even threaten the police, if we don't punish him legally, how are we to be responsible for the citizens of this city? Tell me? Vice Commissioner Lin. Yi Mo sneered. He immediately knew that this Commissioner Lu and this Vice Commissioner Lin weren't on good terms. And this Vice Commissioner Lin probably came due to someone's request to help him. The fat man was choked for words. He subconsciously looked at Yi Mo, meaning that if you can even say such words publicly, how am I supposed to help you? But at this time he had calmed down. Things wouldn't be so simple, he thought. Lu Fong wouldn't come here for someone trivial. He only charged in desperately due to old Hu's phone call. Now that he calmed down, he wanted to know why. Although he didn't get along with Lu Fong, he wouldn't make mistakes on such important issues. Ring, ring. Lu Fong picked up the phone. Mayor Yu, yes, I know. I've captured the people. Okay, I will. Putting the phone down, Lu Fong looked at Fatty Lin and couldn't even be bothered to look at Yi Mo. He just said to Fatty Lin, Vice Commissioner Lin, Mayor Yu just called saying that this incident is very malevolent. We must deal with it seriously and harshly. Yi Mo and Tang Beiwei, being the main suspects of the crime, will be apprehended immediately. Do you have any other ideas, Vice Commissioner Lin? Fatty Lin heard Mayor Yu talk and knew that things weren't good. He seemed to have fallen into a trap and couldn't help blaming Huyang. He thought that it was just a small issue, but now even Mayor Yu was involved. Just when Fatty Lin didn't know what to say, Yi Mo spoke. Vice Commissioner Lin, thank you for helping me speak up. I think you may have to remove the vice very soon. Lu Fong's face was green. Take the two down and investigate carefully. We must find a result. Yi Mo didn't even wait for the vice commissioner to speak and turned to look at Lu Fong. If you can't investigate anything, are you going to apply torture in the interrogation? But that won't be necessary, as I will be interrogating personally now. Open your eyes. Look at what this is. Commissioner Lin, prepare to record. You're mad. Chain him first. Lu Fong looked coldly at Yi Mo and wanted to urge the two cops behind to apprehend him. But then, Yi Mo took out a blue booklet and waved it in front of Lu Fang. You tell me if I have the right to? Flying Snow Head Instructor. Just reading out the 4 words and seeing the stamp made Lu Fang speechless. That stamp was real. Vice Commissioner Lin also quickly reached his head and looked. He also recognized the stamp, and immediately there was liveliness in his eyes. He reacted quickly and said, "Oh, so it's Instructor Yi coming here personally. Haha, I'm Lin San. It's an honor to meet you, an honor." By then he had already extended his hand. "You're Yi Mo? You're the Yi Mo from Beijing." Lin San suddenly remembered who Yi Mo was and began to stutter. It was actually the Yi Mo of the legends. Lu Fang also saw that identity booklet and his heart went cold. However, he didn't completely lose his mind. Even though Yi Mo was an instructor and could kill, he couldn't be involved in the police department's crimes. Plus, this was personally addressed by the mayor. But when he heard the 2 words, Yi Mo, and saw the name on the book, his head buzzed and could no longer suppress the worry in his heart. Perhaps a lot of citizens didn't know the big name of Yi Mo, but how could he not know who Yi Mo was? The one Song family was afraid of, and the person who exterminated the O family all by himself. Any random person from the O family was a mayor. Lu Fang started to sweat behind his back, and his head felt dizzy. He knew his life was over, really over. Yi Mo didn't lie at all that he could kill Wu Jingfei. He was telling the truth. He really could casually kill Wu Jingfei and didn't need to be held responsible at all. Lu Fang had a bit of regret, but there was no regret in life. Yi Mo. I knew he was called Yi Mo from the start. Why didn't I remember it? Other than Yi Mo, who dared to mess with that nye guy in Tandu. Lu Fang had a bit of regret, but there was no regret in life. Yi Mo. I knew he was called Yi Mo from the start. Why didn't I remember it? Other than Yi Mo, who dared to mess with that nye guy in Tandu. Yi Mo looked at Lu Fang and sneered. Seriously, I didn't go mess with you, so why come fuck with me? You think that nye guy can help you? He has already turned to dust. And don't bring out that mayor of yours. He will soon become like you, idiot. If regret and eyes could kill people, Lu Fang would have already killed Wu Jingfei countless times. This bastard. Why did he have to mess with Yi Mo? And Nia Wubian was actually killed. Someone with such a background was killed so easily by Yi Mo. If Yi Mo wanted to kill a mere police commissioner like him, it would just be all too easy. Lu Fang regretted more. If he knew that Nia Wubian had been killed already, he wouldn't even come out. Now that Nia Wubian was killed, why did he even bother getting revenge for a dead and useless person? Lu Fang regretted so much. He no longer dared to use Mayor Yu as his shield. It was a joke to use a mayor as his defense in front of Yi Mo. Did he mention Han Zixin before? Before, Lu Fang didn't mind, but now he remembered who Han Zixin was, and his face went pale white. Instructor Yi, the sound recording device has been prepared. I will be transcribing personally. You may begin your interrogation. Lin San immediately understood that this was his opportunity after his initial shock. This opportunity was too rare. He could already imagine that as long as he utilized Yi Mo's power, he could kick away Lu Fang. Yi Mo meant this when he said Lu Fang could take away that vice. And this wasn't even the main thing. The main thing was he could use Yi Mo's power to bring down that mayor who supports Lu Fang while he can step up a level. Perhaps his higher-up would take this chance to heavily damage their opponents. Thinking about this, Lu San's eyes were full of joy. Yi Mo suddenly looked at Lin San. Although he didn't know politics, he could tell clearly that Lin San wanted to use him. Feeling Yi Mo's eyes, Lin San shivered. It was as though everything he was thinking was easily discerned by this young man. I just want that after things have surfaced, do what should be done. If someone dares to use me as an excuse to do what they like, then don't blame me for the consequences. Yi Mo looked at Lin San and plainly said, Wu Zhengfei already knew at this moment that Yi Mo was no ordinary person. Although he didn't see that small blue booklet, he knew that there was a killing permit that was also a blue booklet. He thought about Yi Mo saying that he was going to kill him and immediately started to sweat. He looked at Lu Fang, but Lu Fang couldn't even save himself. How could he save him? Plus, Lu Fang was full of anger towards Wu Jingfei now. Yi Mo didn't need to do anything to Wu Jingfei, but that heavy pressure was already making him sweat. Wu Jingfei didn't even dare to hide anything and revealed everything. He knew that he was a goner, and he didn't even hide anything for Lu Fang. There were many things Lin San didn't know, but now hearing Wu Jingfei say them all, he was shocked. A police officer was actually protecting a hoodlum who searched around for pretty girls everywhere and even forced a student to commit suicide. This wasn't it. He did it so inconspicuously. Was there no one who called the police? Lu Fang finally couldn't hold it in, and he slumped down. If it was someone else, he would perhaps still resist a little, but he knew that if he resisted in front of EMO, he would be killed immediately and wouldn't even have a chance of recovering. He was in Beijing when Yi Mo annihilated the O family. He knew the whole process very clearly. Wu Zhengfei seemed to feel relaxed a little after confessing and also slumped down. Chain them up. Lin San heard Wu Jingfei's confession and looked at Lu Fang, who also slumped down and felt satisfied. He didn't hesitate to tell people to cuff Wu Jingfei. Yi Mo ignored Lin San's words and looked at Lu Fang. It's your turn. Don't think that your Mr. Mayor can help you. Lu Fang wouldn't even suspect Yi Mo's words. If it was someone else, he could not believe it, but it was Yi Mo who said this. He had to believe it because he knew Yi Mo had the ability. Lu Fang's confession involved a lot more power factors, but that was unrelated to Yi Mo. He didn't care if Lin San could utilize this confession to the greatest extent. Take them away and lock them up. Then, Lin San started to make calls. Hold up. Yi Mo stopped the two policemen who were going to take Wu Jingfei away and casually took out the gun Han Zixin gave him and said, I said I will kill you. This is for Shishi. Lin San looked and was worried. He quickly said, Instructor, don't you think we should lock them up first? It's not suitable to execute them now. They will be judged fairly. Bang! Before Lin San even finished, Yi Mo had put a bullet through Wu Jingfei's head. Looking at the body fall down, he looked plainly at Lin San. Commissioner Lin, I'm grateful for your help, but I already said that I will kill him. If there's anything wrong, you can report me. Then Yi Mo scanned the two police who came in with Wu Jingfei, but who then cuffed him and said, I know your asses aren't clean. If you don't make it clean and I see you again, I will kill you as well. Spread my word out. Lin San cursed to himself. This Yi Mo was just as Lu Fang said, too cocky, but he couldn't do anything about it at all. If Wu Zhengfei wasn't killed, he would have more cards, but now he could only watch as Wu Jingfei died. Lu Fang saw Yi Mo really kill Wu Jingfei in front of him and was now even more worried. He knew that even if Yi Mo killed him, nothing would happen to Yi Mo. However, he finally felt relieved when he saw Yi Mo walk out with Tang Beiwei ignoring him. Although he provided a confession, it should still be enough to stay alive. He couldn't help but feel relieved that these things were all done by Wu Jingfei, and he was not directly related. But he didn't know that Yi Mo did something to his body. He only had half a year to live. Although Lin San and Lu Fang knew Yi Mo's identity, and also knew he had the power to be cocky, the surrounding policemen were shocked. Even if Wu Jingfei was a criminal, it was the first time they saw something like this. Brother, you killed that Wu guy would. Tang Beiwei didn't really think that Yi Mo would dare to kill in the police department. Even though that policeman conducted heavy crimes, such a thing was too extreme. Yi Mo smiled and said, If I didn't record a confession, I may be persecuted for killing that Wu guy. But it should be fine now. That Wu guy dared to attack you. If I don't kill him personally, my power will stop growing. Like I said before, No one can mess with my sister. No one. Brother. Tang Bei Wei subconsciously held Yimo's hands closely. It was warm, but she didn't know what to say now. Let's go to your school first. Yimo stopped a taxi. The police department wasn't too far from the Sher University, and the taxi arrived in a little more than 10 minutes. As soon as Yimo got off the car, he was stopped. I finally found you. You saved me today, right? Thank you. You're really powerful. I'm He Chi, a classmate of Beiwei. I want to invite you out to dinner. You won't reject me, will you? And I also told what happened to my dad. He Chi had been waiting at the door for a long time. As soon as Yimo came, she went up. Hearing He Chi's words, Yimo immediately knew that she probably didn't know he burned down that mansion. However, he didn't have the slightest interest in eating with a woman like He Chi. He immediately refused. No need, I still have some business with Beiwei. Is Tang Beiwei your girlfriend? She's really pretty, the prettiest girl in our school. You're really lucky, but don't worry. No matter how strong that Qian He is, he won't dare to do anything after I tell my dad. He Chi was obviously interested in how Yimo brought her out from Qian, but she just couldn't ask right at the front gate of the university. Yimo didn't say anything. He didn't believe it at all that He Chi's dad could suppress Qian He. Nia Wubian's power wasn't something that a government official of a city could manage. It's you again. You dare to touch Qian He's woman. You really have balls. A bleak voice sounded. Yimo immediately knew that Zhang He had come. The two He of Tandu was both annoying. He Chi immediately glared and said, Zhang He, move aside. You have no business here. There will be one less He in Tan Du Qian. He dared to capture me. I've already told my dad. Qian, he will be gone soon. You could escape after Qian, he captured you. Zhang, he immediately said in surprise. But afterward, he immediately realized his words weren't appropriate. Thus, he stopped the topic. He wouldn't believe it at all that He Chi's dad could do anything to Qian He. Yimo's eyes scanned coldly at Zhang He. This bastard might also be related to Nia Wubian. It seemed he needed to find an opportunity to get rid of him. Do you believe that I will beat you up immediately, but the police would still come and take you away? As though a little threatened by He Chi, Zhang He stared coldly at Yimo and said. He was extremely annoyed at Yimo. He didn't know Yimo and Tang Beiwei got together, but Qian He was still not making an appearance. If it wasn't for Qian He, Tang Beiwei would have long been his. Yimo walked up and raised his hand, slapping twice on Zhang He's face. He slapped Zhang He so hard that he spun a few circles before falling to the ground, spitting out blood and a few teeth. Now you may call the police. Then Yimo took out a handkerchief from somewhere and wiped his hand before throwing it to the ground. Rumble. As soon as Yimo threw the handkerchief on the ground, a crystal blue sports car drove here, spinning a few circles before stopping in front of Yimo, and then Zhang, he looked at Yimo's action and the hanker he threw on the ground. How could he not know that Yimo did this on purpose? He wiped off the blood from his mouth, and his face was green in anger. He knew that, although he knew a few moves, he was far from being a match for Yimo. He didn't even think, and took out the phone to call the police. Zhang, he looked at Yimo's action and the hanker he threw on the ground. How could he not know that Yimo did this on purpose? He wiped off the blood from his mouth, and his face was green in anger. He knew that, although he knew a few moves, he was far from being a match for Yimo. He didn't even think, and took out the phone to call the police. Brother Yi, it's such a coincidence. I didn't think I would see you as soon as I came. My luck is really good this time. Chao Gang jumped off from the sports car, shaking Yimo's hand. Yimo had a great impression of this young Master Chao. He didn't play tricks, and he wasn't arrogant. This was a very rare personality of a young master. Judging by his mannerisms, this young Master Chao didn't have such a simple background. You're being too polite, young Master Chao. This is what I promised, and I took your money. Since I have time, of course I will do my best. Yi Mo smiled. Qiao Gang immediately said, You're being too polite talking like this. That money isn't even much to Brother Yi. If I didn't happen to be at the right place and the right time, I really wouldn't have such fortune. The first time I saw Brother Yi, I knew you weren't a simple person. Hee, my eyes have always been right. This time, I'm betting everything on you. Before Yi Mo could talk, Zhang He had crawled up from the ground and looked at Qiao Gang in shock. Qiao, young Master Qiao, this really is coincidental. Although he was talking like that, Zhang He was having a tsunami in his heart. He had already looked at Yi Mo as though he was a dead person and wanted to think of every possible way to harm him. But he didn't expect Qiao Gang to know Yi Mo and treat him so well. What was happening? Qiao Gang only saw Zhang He crawl up now and pointed at Zhang He in astonishment, exaggeratingly saying, Big young Master Zhang, why are you rolling on the ground? People say I F***CK around, but you F***CK around way more than me. You even like to play this. Yi Mo smiled. He didn't believe that Qiao Gang couldn't tell he beat up Zhang He. Qiao Gang must be saying this intentionally. Zhang He laughed awkwardly. I'm not that bored, young Master Qiao. Then he looked coldly at Yi Mo. No matter who Yi Mo was, even if he couldn't mess with Qiao Gang, he wouldn't let Yi Mo go. Young Master Zhang He, don't try anything with Brother Yi. If you dare to, don't blame me then. Qiao Gang also saw the hatred in the way Zhang He looked at Yi Mo. Young Master Qiao, this has nothing to do with you. If you must intervene, then I can only call for my cousin. Zhang, he knew he was no match for Qiao Gang as he was only a member of a branch family of the Zhang family. Although he had some power in Tandu in Huzhong province, he had no power at all. However, his cousin Zhang Dian was the direct descendant of the Zhang family and was the successor of the 4th generation. His status was the same as Qiao Gang in the Qiao family. Hearing Zhang He's words, Qiao Gang's face turned askew, but he still sneered. Yi Mo's a valued guest of our Qiao family and also my friend. If you dare to do anything to Brother Yi, then don't blame me. Even if your family leader comes, there's nothing to reason about. Valued guest? Zhang, he began to contemplate and looked carefully at Yi Mo. Suddenly he thought, with the Qiao family being on par with the Zhang family, why would they let such a young guy like Yi Mo be a valued guest? This was strange. Zhang, he suddenly realized something that caused him to laugh. So your Qiao family wants him to represent your family in the race. Ahaha, I finally understand. Qiao Gang's face changed. He didn't expect Zhang He to be this smart. He just said one sentence, yet Zhang He had already guessed his motives. It seemed this guy wasn't just an idiot, but so what if he knew? Thinking about this, Qiao Gang sneered then said, Indeed, I want to ask for Yi Mo to help out with the race. What can you do? Nothing, but I will also be going to the race, so don't let me meet him. Zhang, he sneered, and wiped off the blood from his mouth. Yi Mo, a minor character, dared to hit him. He didn't know why that Qian, he bastard, wouldn't look for Yi Mo for trouble, but even if Qian he didn't do so, he would make Yi Mo regret at the race. A police siren sounded, and a police car drove over quickly. 2 policemen got off the car and they saw Zhang He, who still had blood on his mouth, and became frightened out of their wits. Which bastard actually had the gall to attack Zhang He? Young Master Zhang, who did this? The tall policeman immediately knew that if he didn't handle this matter properly, his career was over. Who else could it be? It's him. I was obeying the law, but he hit me. See it for yourself. Zhang, he sneered. Even though I can't do anything to you, Qiao Gang, I can still get Yi Mo into the detention center for a few days just to piss him off. Qiao Gang immediately realized Zhang He's plan. Although he could save Yi Mo, if Yi Mo went in, he would lose this round. This would cause his reputation to be besmirched. He was a direct descendant of his family, yet he couldn't even beat a branch young master who F***CKs around all day. Qiao Gang, was similarly someone who cared about his image. Plus, these two policemen definitely didn't know him and perhaps wouldn't even bother with him. After making a call, Yemo would have been taken away already and might even be taught a lesson. Young Master Zhang, don't worry, this is a legal society. We won't let such mafia-like behavior go. That tall police finished speaking and just walked towards Yemo. He even took out his handcuffs. He obviously wasn't going to let Yemo argue at all. Xiao Gang was worried about him, so he took out his phone while he tried to stop this policeman. Yemo, however, stopped Xiao Gang from making a call. No need to worry, they won't dare to take me. That tall policeman walked up in front of Yemo, but before he could even raise the handcuffs, he was kicked right in the chest by Yemo and fell back more than 10 steps. He then crashed onto Zhang. He and the two fell to the ground. You dare to attack the police? Yemo didn't use much power on this kick. That tall police just felt his chest was heavy, but soon crawled up. He took out his handcuffs again while putting his other hand on his gun. Zhang, he and Xiao Gang were shocked. Even He Chi on the side couldn't react. It was already absurd that Yemo knew Xiao Gang, but he dared to attack the police in broad daylight. Even a young master like Zhang, he wouldn't dare to attack the police openly. Even if he was to teach the police a lesson, he had to find a place with nobody. Attacking the police? You think too highly of yourself. Have you the right to be a police? When you walked over, did you even ask me anything? You just heard the words of one party, yet you want to cuff me away. That kick was done lightly. If you don't pack away your gun, then don't blame me. Yemo looked coldly at the police, then said, just when the other policeman put his hand on the gun, he recognized it was Yemo and then began to release cold sweat all around his body. He quickly put his hand down and was prepared to alert his colleague. But that tall police had also stood down. He had also become quite frightened. He also recognized it was Yemo, the person who killed Wu Jingfei at the police department, and walked out unscathed. If he pissed Yemo off, then the consequence would really be unpredictable. The tall policeman cursed at himself silently for not realizing the person's identity beforehand. Qian, he and Wu Jingfei had already been killed. Now this he had also messed with Yemo. If he didn't retreat now, then he would really be asking to die. Thinking about this tall policeman quickly walked up and said, "Sorry, I just heard one side of the story and caused an error in my judgment." After speaking halfway, the tall policeman looked at Zhang. He couldn't mess with him, too. These facts turned into his misfortune. But if he really had to offend one side, he would rather offend Zhang He. At most, he would lose his job or have some physical pain, but if he offended Yemo, things wouldn't be so simple. Yemo saw that situation was difficult for the two policemen, and he knew that these two weren't completely to be blamed. With Zhang He's authority, how would a policeman think of fighting against him? He waved his hand and said, "You two should go. You have dealt with the things here." "Yes." The two police heard Yemo's words and felt it was like heavenly music. They quickly got on the car and disappeared. Zhang, he wasn't able to react for a long time. What society was this? Someone dared to be cockier than him at Tandu beating the police, but the police didn't even dare to talk back. Were his words so useless now? "You're quite amazing, Brother Yi. Even I don't dare to do that." "I knew it. Brother Yi is no ordinary person. Let's go eat, it's on me today." Xiao Gang was quite satisfied seeing Zhang He suffer, but at the same time he was also shocked. This Yemo definitely had a great identity, not just normal great. Yemo patted Xiao Gang's shoulder. "Okay, let's go have a meal." "I will also go, young Master Qiao. You will welcome me, won't you?" He Chi finally found the right timing to butt in. Xiao Gang seemed to just notice He Chi and quickly smiled. "Of course not. I didn't think Mrs. He was also here. It's my honor, haha." Zhang, he saw them leave and felt as though he had eaten a fly. He immediately took out his phone and called, "Dad, it's me." MHM. I just saw Xiao Gang come to Tanderite. He found a racer, but I don't know how good he is. This racer is called Yemo. He's very cocky. He dared to slap me, and it was very hard. He even smacked down a few of my teeth. What? He dares to be so arrogant. Even Xiao Gang can't be so arrogant, daring to smack you near the gates of the university. Even if that old man Xiao comes, I won't let go of this arrogant brat. The voice coming from the phone was very furious. Zhang Quanqian was now completely infuriated. No matter how much composure he had, a mere racer dared to slap his son and break his teeth. If word got out, he would be shamed. Zhang, his mouth formed a cold sneer. Dad, I have a way to make him die 3 days later without a burial ground. Yemo's spirit sense scanned, and he saw an Audi parked not far away. This car seemed to have followed Xiaogang here. A bulky man got off the car who seemed to be quite strong, but in Yemo's eyes, he wasn't even a yellow level warrior. Yemo's spirit sense scanned, and he saw an Audi parked not far away. This car seemed to have followed Xiaogang here. A bulky man got off the car who seemed to be quite strong, but in Yemo's eyes, he wasn't even a yellow level warrior. As though he could notice Yemo's glances, Xiaogang laughed at himself. The one following is my bodyguard. Although I don't like it, my dad forced this, hee. He walked beside Tang Beiwei and asked quietly, "Is that Yemo your boyfriend? How did he let us go today?" Tang Beiwei, like Yemo, didn't really like this He-Chi. Although she was good-looking, she was too arrogant and selfish. But now that she came to ask her, Tang Beiwei couldn't pretend she didn't hear it. She said, "I don't know. When I woke up, we were already out." "Is that so?" He-Chi murmured to herself and then asked, "How come I've never heard that you have a boyfriend? He seems quite strong. How did you know him?" Tang Beiwei started to dislike He-Chi more and said casually, "That's my business." As though seeing Tang Beiwei's distaste, He-Chi couldn't do anything, even though she herself was annoyed. If it was before, even though Tang Beiwei was prettier than her, she couldn't be bothered talking to Tang Beiwei. But now, she had become more and more interested in Yemo. She really wanted to know how Yemo brought her out today. And how did he know Xiao Gang? Xiao Gang even seemed very polite to him. That wasn't it, but he dared to hit the police and was fine afterward. Just who was this Yemo? Xiao Gang's father, Qiao Xinghu, was the vice-governor of Huzhong province, and the Qiao family was very powerful. He-Chi saw that Tang Beiwei didn't really want to talk to her, so she could only move to Yemo's side. Just when she wanted to squish in between Xiao Gang and Yemo, then asked the latter. A dark ray shot towards Xiao Gang's forehead like lightning. At such speed, both the bodyguard and Xiao Gang weren't able to react, and when Xiao Gang saw it, his heart sunk. He knew he didn't have time to react. Yemo immediately knew someone was trying to assassinate Xiao Gang, although he didn't know why someone would assassinate a young master like this. Since he knew Xiao Gang and felt that he was quite nice, he had a reason to help. Plus, him giving a hand was a very casual matter. He didn't need much effort. Just when that dark ray was about to hit Xiao Gang's face, Yemo reached out and grabbed it. His spirit sense scanned and found out it was a thin dart. A dart shot out at such speed definitely wasn't by hand. It must be shot from some crossbow. Yemo's spirit sense immediately scanned some corner tens of meters away and saw a man holding a small crossbow. He didn't even think too much as threw this dart back. The dart seemed to have eyes as it shot into the forehead of the man holding the miniature crossbow. The man didn't even moan before falling dead. Ah! At this moment, Xiao Gang reacted. He had just experienced an assassination attempt. Similarly, his bodyguard also reacted and charged over. "Brother Yi, thanks, I owe you my life." Xiao Gang felt his forehead in fright. If it wasn't for Yemo just then, he would have died already. Then he also realized that Yemo was not only unordinary, but also much stronger than he had expected. That was too powerful just then. The speed of the dart was not much slower than a bullet, and yet Guillermo caught it with his bare hands and even threw it back. Threw it back? Thinking about this, just when Xiao Gang wanted to say something, Guillermo said, "I've already killed that person who tried to assassinate you. He's behind the rubbish, can on the left." Xiao Gang immediately told the bodyguard, "Bring that person here immediately." Then he picked up his phone and called. His eyes were a bit worried. It was He Chi who had seen Yi Mo's movements the clearest. She was behind Mo and thus saw clearly everything. Those actions were a flurry of shadows. It was too fast that she still wasn't even able to react until now. He was no ordinary person indeed. He Chi was shocked more. She even suspected that Mo beat Qian he down before taking her out. With such thing occurring, there was no mood for food. Just when Xiao Gang finished the call, his bodyguard had brought the dead man here. Luckily, the assassin chose a far-off place, and no one noticed. Xiao Gang picked up the miniature crossbow by the assassin's wrist. His face changed immediately and became dazed for a whole few seconds before turning around to Yi Mo, saying worriedly, "Sorry, brother Yi. I've caused you trouble. What happened?" Yi Mo saw that Xiao Gang's face was awful and completely anxious. Xiao Gang sighed and said, "It's actually the Earth Fiend. I've heard my grandpa say Earth Fiend was originally called Earth Kill. It's an international hitman organization and their prices are very high. Someone actually hired Earth Fiend to kill me. It must be because..." Speaking about this, Xiao Gang stopped and looked at He Chi. "Mrs. He, how about I invite you next time? I really can't today." Although she wasn't satisfied, He Chi knew that if she forced her to stay here, it would cause annoyance. Looking at He Qi leave, Xiao Gang calmed himself before saying, "I think it's probably because of the blood coral. This race is just a cover-up. The real reason is due to the blood coral. It wasn't just our family who discovered it, but also the Zhang family and the Yun family as well as the River South Cha family. For families altogether." When Xiao Gang spoke of blood coral, Yumo's heartbeat increased its pace. He remembered that there was a spirit grass in the cultivation realm also called blood coral. But soon he shook his head. Just because the names were the same, it didn't mean it was the same thing. If it really was blood coral, then he could reach the middle stage of Qi gathering, stage 4. Xiao Gang didn't notice Yumo's expression and continued, "There's only one, but there are 4 families. We have agreed to decide the owner of the blood coral through an auto race. Each family will have 2 racers. The first place gets 8 points, the last place gets 1 point. The score will be the total of the points. Whichever family has the highest point at the end gets the blood coral, and one of the racers must be from the family. Because my racing skills are the best, I must participate the race. The other person I invited is you. These people want to kill me, so I can't go in a race." Yi Mo frowned and said, "Since your racing skills are the best, why did the other 3 families still choose auto racing?" Xiao Gang smiled bitterly, then said, "Because the blood coral was discovered by us young masters when we got out to race. So our family brought out this idea of racing, and the other few families can't rebuke it. What I'm worried isn't this. I'm afraid that it won't end after you killed the Earth Fiend hitman." Yi Mo smiled, not talking. He wouldn't be afraid because of some hitman organization. Seeing Yi Mo's look, Xiao Gang could only say again, "Earth Fiend has been established for more than a century. Their hitmen are all over the world. No one knows what they look like because those who do are all dead. It's said that from the founding of this organization till now, they have only failed 3 times. Those who killed their hitmen would be hunted by them. There are no exceptions. Even our family don't dare to touch this hitman organization, much less the individual members. So I'm worried that they will hunt you like crazy after you killed their man." Yi Mo sneered. So that means if they want to kill someone, you can only reach out your neck and let them kill you without resistance. However, Qiao Gang didn't find it funny at all and nodded seriously. Indeed, usually those they try to hunt can only evade, but no one has been successful in doing so. However, their prices aren't ordinarily high. Normal people wouldn't be able to afford it. I only knew about his identity from the tattoo on his wrist. The two-sided dagger means to fight till the last gasp. The sword has no handle, only two tips at both ends. And Qiao Gang hesitated and looked at Yemo before saying, "The hitman in Earth Fiend is divided into 3 calibers: heaven, earth, and human. The one you have just killed is the lowest human-level hitman. But once you kill their hitmen, you will be the enemy of Earth Fiend. They will pursue the person to the ends of the earth. There are no exceptions. So, Brother Yi, it's my fault this time. You can't run around now. So how about you come back to the Qiao family with me?" Tang Beiwei heard Qiao Gang's words and clutched Yimo's hand tightly. She didn't think her brother just got into a conflict with such a terrifying organization. Yi Emo waved his hand and said, "Brother Qiao, don't worry. I'm not worried about a mere hitman organization. 3 days later, I will be waiting for you at the front gate of this university on time. I think your family also needs to arrange some things, so I won't disturb you." Qiao Gang looked as Yi Emo pulled Tang Beiwei and left feeling more and more guilty. Yi Emo got into this trouble due to saving him, but he couldn't solve this issue. Let's go back first. Qiao Gang then told the bodyguard to bring the hitman into the car, and they disappeared quickly. "Brother, what do we do?" Tang Beiwei was the one worried the most. She finally found her kin, but soon her brother would be hunted by the Earth Fiends. She was very worried. Yi Emo patted Tang Beiwei's shoulder. "Don't worry, I'll send you to Beijing tomorrow. You can stay with Sister Yiling. After I deal with things here, I will come find you. Don't you know my power? I've learned Dao magic. What can a mere hitman organization do to me?" Tang Beiwei didn't talk, but Yi Emo knew that she was mostly unhappy with his suggestion. He was helpless. If it wasn't due to Earth Fiend, he would let Tang Beiwei do what she wanted. Tang Beiwei didn't talk, but Yi Emo knew that she was mostly unhappy with his suggestion. He was helpless. If it wasn't due to Earth Fiend, he would let Tang Beiwei do what she wanted. Just when Yi Emo still wanted to persuade her, Tang Beiwei said, "Brother, I don't want to go to the Yi family. Since you're not from the Yi family, I have an even lesser connection to them, so I don't want to go." Yi Mo's mind blanked out for a second, but immediately understood Tang Beiwei's concern then. He thought about it, and it really was so. He was at most related to Yi Zifeng and Yi Ling in the Yi family. Thinking about this, Yi Emo said embarrassingly, "Sorry, Beiwei, I didn't think about it clearly. Let me think again." Tang Beiwei heard Yi Emo take back his words, so she immediately smiled sweetly. "Actually, brother, if they really are going to attack me, it's no use even if you send me to the Yi family. Plus, perhaps I'm safer by your side." Yi Emo nodded and said, "Okay, we'll do that. Let's see how bold this organization is. If they really dare to attack you, then don't blame me for the consequences." Yi Emo had too many enemies that he didn't worry about such things anymore. He had a feud with North Sand, and now he got into a conflict with an international hitman organization. Since there was already a feud, there was no use worrying about it. That night, the two didn't stay at a hotel and went to Tang Beiwei's house for the night instead. Tang Beiwei's house was very shabby indeed. Yi Emo didn't see any valuable appliances. From this, it could be seen that she really lived a poor life with her mother. Tang Beiwei seemed to have noticed Yi Mo's sadness, but she didn't think of it that much. Instead, she was quite happy. Although her mother left, she still had a big brother. However, it was unfortunate that her mother couldn't stay with her. She would definitely not go live with that Song Chiming. "Brother, I suspect that Song Guy knows you are going to look for trouble with the Song family, so she took my mother away. but I really don't want my mother to be hurt. Brother, if you go to the Song family, just. Tang Beiwei knew that Yi Mo had a massive feud with the Song family, and she couldn't find the right words for Yi Mo to let the Song family go. Yi Mo sighed. He knew that Song Qiming had achieved his goal. It was quite hard for him to kill Song Qiming in front of the woman who raised Tang Beiwei for more than 20 years. But he definitely wouldn't just let things slide. Perhaps he didn't even think about going to the Song family these few days at Tan, due to Tang Beiwei. Song Qiming. He definitely wouldn't let go of her. At most, he wouldn't let Tang Beiwei's mother see. Xianjiang had a population of nearly 40 million. Zhang family could be said to be the largest family in Xinjiang and was also one of the 5 great families of China. It could be said that they were ranked first in power. But other than Zhang family, the Qiao family also had a large part of their power in Xinjiang. In the 5 great families, the Qiao family was ranked third, just below the Zhang family and Li family. At the same time, there was an obvious conflict when both the Zhang family and Qiao family was developing in Xinjiang. Even the younger generation of the 2 families was highly competitive. Originally, this blood coral was found by Zhang, he of the branch family. Due to various reasons of the previous generation, the Tan-Du-Zhang branch was gradually fading out of the Xian-Jiang-Zhang family and couldn't even be connected to them anymore. They were becoming a small family on the boundary. But due to this blood coral event and Zhang He's exceptional driving skills, it allowed the Tan-Du-Zhang family to be once again connected to the Xian-Jiang-Zhang family. The Xian-Jiang-Zhang family wanted to forcefully enter the situation, and the other 3 families couldn't do anything about it because, strictly speaking, the Tan-Du-Zhang family was a branch of the Zhang family. Moreover, the Zhang family was too powerful. They had this unknown force behind them. The other few families didn't dare to compete with the Zhang family overtly, so the only thing they could do was to win the blood coral through a race. At this moment, the atmosphere in the Qiao family wasn't good. Other than Qiao Gang's father, Qiao Xinghu, all the elites of the Qiao family were here. Big uncle Wu Chong had confirmed. The person Xiao Gang brought back was the human-level hitman of Earth Fiend indeed, and they used the unique crossbow of Earth Fiend. The man speaking was Qiao Xingbao, Qiao Gang's 4th uncle. Qiao Zheng heard the words, and he frowned. Although the blood coral is precious, it isn't worth it to offend this Earth Fiend organization for it. At this moment, a man in his 30s sitting behind Qiao Xingbao said, "Sai, this EMO is too impulsive. Although he's quite strong, he can't just kill people casually. Now he's dead for sure, but our Qiao family will also be affected. Qiao Gang, next time be careful in making friends. Not all people can become friends. Your societal experience is too little. If it was me, I wouldn't even make such friend." Qiao Gang's face changed and stood up immediately. "Qiao Jijun, what do you mean? So I should be killed and not retaliate? Yi Mo saved my life. You mean that he should just be killed?" Qiao Jijun wasn't angry at all and spoke plainly. "Qiao Gang, I'm just saying the fact. Our Qiao family is a big family. How are we going to develop if you do things so recklessly?" "Oh, so how are you going to deal with it?" Seeing Qiao Jijun use a pedantic tone, Qiao Gang asked while suppressing his anger. He knew that a lot of people weren't happy that he was the successor of the family. Qiao Jijun sneered. "If you don't have some balls, how is the family going to live? If it was me, I would have immediately captured that Yi Mo and sent him to the Earth Fiend asking for their forgiveness." "Bullshit!" Qiao Gang was extremely furious. "Are you going to capture me and send me to them too? That's enough. Don't yell in the family meeting. All of you calm down." Qiao Zhen tapped the table. Qiao Gang still looked coldly at Qiao Jijun, his eyes filled with fury. At this moment, an old man sitting beside Qiao Zhen coughed and said, "Actually, Jijun's idea might be a good way. After all, Yi Mo is just a normal person. We'll compensate his sister." "Third Grandpa, you." Qiao Gang didn't expect someone to conform to Qiao Jijun's idea, and it was an elder of the family. He immediately felt alone and weak. Yi Mo was his savior. Even if he lost his life, he couldn't do such a thing. Qiao Zhan waved his hand. Everyone's ideas are right. After all, we're all thinking for the family. Speaking of Yi Mo, I remembered that abandoned son of the Beijing Yi family. Would the two be the same person? How can that be? The Song family is so scared of the Beijing Yi Mo that they are about to disband. How could that Yi Mo be willing to be someone else's driver and agree to help Xiao Gang in a race? I have heard of that Yi Mo, that he's proud and cold. He's very vengeful and decisive in killing. Qiao Shengbao said immediately. Decisive in killing? Qiao Zhan repeated and frowned. This Yi Mo, whom Qiao Gang had just met, killed this hitman immediately just because the hitman was going to kill Qiao Gang. Wasn't this decisive in killing? And he dared to beat policemen in broad daylight. Was this really that Yi Mo? Bring a picture of that Beijing Yi Mo over. Qiao Zhan was very decisive and did things immediately. The picture was soon brought over. Qiao Zhan gave the picture to Qiao Gang. See if this is the same Yi Mo, you know. Qiao Gang took the picture and immediately said, Grandpa, it's him. This is the brother Yi I know. Hearing Qiao Gang's words, Qiao Zhan actually gasped a sigh of relief. What a huge joke capturing this Yi Mo and giving him to Earth Fiend. Was this Yi Mo someone who could be captured? Although the Song family was ranked 4th in the 5 great families, Qiao Zhan knew that the Song family was the real second family. Purely from politics, the Song family could even be ranked 1st. Even the Song family was no match for this Yi Mo. It was suicide for the Qiao family to take on Yi Mo+. This Yi Mo saved his grandson. As expected, when they heard that the Yi Mo Qiao Gang knew was that Yi Mo from Beijing, everyone in the Qiao family shut their mouths. Qiao Jijun glared bleakly at Qiao Gang and cursed. He didn't expect this Qiao Gang to be so lucky to know even the Yi Mo of Beijing. Beijing Yi Mo, no matter how strong you are dead in killing people of the Earth Fiend. Qiao Jijun calmed down soon. This Yi Mo couldn't be cocky for long. Okay, we'll leave it at that. From now on, no one if the family shall reveal Yi Mo's identity. 3 days later, Yi Mo will still represent our Qiao family to participate in the race, Qiao Zhan ordered. Of course, Qiao Gang had heard of Beijing Yi Mo. He didn't think at all that the Yi Mo he knew was that legendary Yi Mo. He killed O Tanhu. Who was O Tanhu? As a direct descendant of the family, there was no way he didn't know. Such a powerful person agreed to race for him? Thinking about this, Qiao Gang felt quite proud. Lucky that he didn't act up in front of Yi Mo. Qiao Gang then thought about Yi Mo's calm attitude upon hearing about Earth Fiend, and he couldn't help admiring him. Perhaps only someone like Brother you wouldn't feel threatened because of a hitman organization like Earth Fiend. Yi Mo and Tang Beiwei spoke for the entire night, and just as it was almost daylight, Tang Beiwei sank into sleep. Yi Mo, however, made a defensive bracelet and wore it himself. Although this bracelet was completely useless against the attacks of ancient martial artists, it could still defend against normal ambushes. Yi Mo and Tang Beiwei spoke for the entire night, and just as it was almost daylight, Tang Beiwei sank into sleep. Yi Mo, however, made a defensive bracelet and wore it himself. Although this bracelet was completely useless against the attacks of ancient martial artists, it could still defend against normal ambushes. Even without the defensive bracelet, Yi Mo wouldn't be afraid of ambushes. But since he could defend without moving, why not? When Tang Beiwei woke up, it was already noon. After cleaning herself, Yi Mo took Tang Beiwei to buy some daily items on the streets before going back to the university to get her personal belongings. Although Tang Beiwei didn't know where Yi Mo had put these things, she knew that her brother was very magical and she didn't ask. Although she was curious, she was mature enough to know that sometimes it was not good to ask if her brother didn't want to say. It wasn't too good to ask, but in fact, Yi Mo didn't think too much of it. Tang Beiwei knew about a lot of his powers, that he didn't need to hide a storage ring from Tang Beiwei. Seeing her confusion, he just showed the ring to her. When Yi Mo brought Tang Beiwei to the Tandu hospital, Pang Haixiang and Hu Exec were already waiting at the door. Seeing Yi Mo walk over, Pang Haixiang immediately came up. There was full of relief in her eyes. Although Lin San had called Hu Exec, saying that Yi Mo had gotten out, she still wasn't relieved until seeing Yi Mo personally. Magical Dr. Yi, were you okay yesterday? You were taken by the police, so Hu Exec and I were both very worried. Pang Haixiang's expression had revealed that she was indeed very worried. Yi Mo nodded and had some good impression towards this Mrs. Pang. She didn't come up and talk about her husband straight away and instead asked about Yi Mo's safety. Whether or not it was due to her experience in life, at least she knew what to do. Thanks for your concern, I'm fine. You husband should be at Tandu Hospital already, right? Yi Mo only wanted to quickly cure him and leave. Yes, sorry to bother you, Magical Dr. Yi. Although Pang Haixiang wanted Yi Mo to immediately treat her husband, she couldn't make herself seem so desperate. Hu Yang finally found the opportunity to speak and said, Magical Dr. Yi, I'll take you there. He wanted to see how Yi Mo would cure Pang Haixiang's husband. Yi Mo and Tang Beiwei were led to the VIP room on the 3rd floor by Hu Yang. Who is this young man? The exec is so respectful to him and calls him Magical Doctor? This is too absurd, a nurse said quietly. Another nurse beside her said, This young man was the person who cured Chong Yuan's leg yesterday. His medical skills are rather strong. You didn't see when he used acupuncture. His actions were like lightning. I saw it with my own eyes. This nurse was the nurse taking care of Chong Yuan yesterday. A middle-aged female doctor who was prepared to finish her work saw the scene. She turned back in bewilderment and looked at another doctor and said, Manager Lu, don't tell me the arrogant person you spoke of yesterday was him? Did he cure Chong Yuan's leg? At this moment, Manager Lu's face was flushed red. Yesterday, he still said this young man was insolent, but now, Hu Exec was calling him Magical Doctor. And the entire hospital now knew about what happened yesterday. This was a loud slap in the face to him. What's Hu Exec bringing him up for? Another doctor asked. I heard there's a patient transferred here from Hong Kong, Mali Hospital. It's said that the hospital cannot do anything about the situation. They heard that the doctor Yi was very powerful, so they transferred him today. The nurse replied immediately. Obviously, she knew very clearly about what happened. There's actually such magical doctor? I must go up and see. It's good even if I learn a little bit. That doctor quickly followed. I will also go see. The middle-aged female doctor also followed, seeing another 2 doctors follow. Manager Lu focused and also quietly followed. To be honest, he still couldn't believe now that someone could cure Chong Yuan's leg. However, Chong Yuan had left the hospital already yesterday, and he couldn't find her. Now he could go up to see if it was real. However, reality was harsh. Other than Pang Haixiang and Hu Exec, Yi Mo only brought Tang Beiwei into the patient's room. Other people could only wait outside. If it wasn't because he offended Earth Fiend, Yi Mo would let Tang Beiwei wait for him at the university. Although he wasn't afraid of this hitman organization, if they attacked Tang Beiwei, he wouldn't be able to do anything. The only way would be to keep Tang Beiwei by his side. If these people weren't as scary as Qiao Gang said they were and didn't attack his sister, he would take Tang Beiwei to Beijing to see her mother, then deal with the Song family before sending Tang Beiwei to Luotsang. Pang Haixiang's husband looked very emaciated. His face was a little purple and his breathing was heavy. My husband's condition looks like heart disease, but many doctors have checked that he doesn't have heart disease. Once his face is purple to a certain extent, he would faint. Now, the situation is getting worse and worse. Magical doctor. Although she tried to avoid Yumo's annoyance, she could care less about that much when it concerned her husband's safety. Yi-Mo scanned with his spiritual sense. He didn't even need to diagnose with his hands and knew what disease this person had. He saw it on Earth before. It was purple coral poisoning. Purple coral was a material for crafting artifacts in the cultivation realm. It was a rare material even in the cultivation realm. Did Earth have that much purple coral? How come he didn't see one at all? Yi-Mo felt gloomy. The man on the bed saw Yi-Mo come over and struggled to sit up. Magical doctor Yi, I'm Guatiming. Sorry to trouble you so much. I know my disease is very hard to cure, and it's also hereditary. If you can't cure it, it's just my fate. Yi-Mo originally wanted to say this condition was very simple to cure, but he heard Guatiming say this was actually hereditary, and he frowned. This was the first time he heard of purple coral poisoning being hereditary. Did he diagnose wrongly? Seeing Yi-Mo frown, Guatiming sighed. He knew that his condition was a bit hard even for the magical doctor here, but he had a positive outlook on things, and he said immediately, my grandpa also died of this disease, so did my father. I don't have a son, I only have a daughter. It seems my disease stops at me. Yi-Mo didn't reply. He took out a golden needle and pierced it into a chakra point on Guatiming and ran his chi down. He immediately knew he diagnosed right. It was indeed purple coral, but this poison shouldn't be hereditary. Yi-Mo pulled out the golden needle and looked at Pang Haishiang, who had a hopeful face, and Huyang, who was very focused. He smiled and said, I can cure this, but… Pang Haishiang heard Yi-Mo say he could cure her husband and immediately was overjoyed. After a while she said, Magical Doctor Yi, as long as you can cure my husband, I will do anything I can. Originally, Yi-Mo wanted Guatiming to tell him where he saw the purple coral, but then he thought about it and gave up on the idea. He didn't have to have this mine, or… Plus, even if he asked, Guatiming might not know what he was talking about. Never mind. Yi-Mo picked up a few golden needles and pierced it into different chakra points of Guatiming with extreme speed. With the use of qi, the purple coral poison was quickly pulled out by Yi-Mo. Strictly speaking, Guatiming's condition was much better than Zhuiyushan, but his body wasn't as good as Zhuiyushan, so he wasn't able to drag it on as long as Zhuiyushan. After half an hour, Yi-Mo took back the golden needles and said, It's done. Huh. Pang Haishiang looked at Yi-Mo in shock. It was done? She didn't believe at all that it was done. No matter how powerful his medical skills were, it couldn't be done so quickly. There was no medicine eaten or a surgery happened. He just pierced a few needles and it was done? What? It's done just like that? Huyang asked and was also shocked. If he didn't know how serious Guatiming's condition was, and if it wasn't that he knew about Guatiming, he would think Yi-Mo and Guatiming were together in a scandal. After a moment later, Pang Haishiang reacted first and quickly charged up and grabbed Guatiming's hand. Timing, how are you? Guatiming immediately felt the pain and suffering in his body disappear completely. At first, he hadn't reacted, but now that his wife asked, he moved his limbs and stood up. Soon he yelled out in joy, I'm really okay. My body no longer hurts. There's actually such medical skills. Guatiming murmured a few times and still couldn't believe it. There's actually such medical skills. This time, it was Hu exec murmuring. He didn't believe it either that Yi-Mo could cure Guatiming's disease so quick. After all, Guatiming's was an incurable disease. In that case, I'll be leaving. Beiwei, let's go. Then, Yi-Mo was about to leave with Tang Beiwei. Magical Doctor Yi, please stop. Guatiming suddenly reacted and stopped Yi-Mo. Guatiming took out a jade box from his bag and said to Yi-Mo, Magical Dr. Yi, my ancestors were also a branch of ancient martial artists. However, they fell later on. When you treated me, you probably used inner chi right. It could be seen that you're an ancient martial arts master. This box was passed down from my ancestor. I believe my descendants won't be learning ancient martial arts. You saved my life, and there's nothing much I can give. I'll give you this box. Please take it, Magical Doctor Yi. Guo Taiming took out a jade box from his bag and said to Yimo, Magical Dr. Yi, my ancestors were also a branch of ancient martial artists. However, they fell later on. When you treated me, you probably used inner chi right. It could be seen that you're an ancient martial arts master. This box was passed down from my ancestor. I believe my descendants won't be learning ancient martial arts. You saved my life, and there's nothing much I can give. I'll give you this box. Please take it, Magical Dr. Yi. Yimo quickly pushed it away. Mr. Guo, this is passed down by your ancestors, so I can't take it. You should keep it. Guo Taiming shook his head and said, I only have a daughter. Even if I have a son, I said to myself that if Dr. Yi could cure me, this jade box will be my humble gift. I know, Doctor, you may not think it's useful, but there's nothing much I can give that you'd feel valuable. Seeing that Guo Taiming was being genuine, Yimo could only take the jade box. He opened it and found a card inside. It should be a bank card. Other than the card, there was a goatskin map. It was obvious that it was from a very long time ago. It had an imprint of a region of a sea. The map had an ore on it. It was the purple coral ore. Yimo immediately understood why Guo Taiming's disease was hereditary. His jade box must have been passed down from his ancestor, and each generation would play with this purple coral. In the end, those who touched it would get this disease. However, Zhui Aigo was different. The Guo family people saw this, and still put it in the box, causing the purple coral to be preserved and passed down. Yimo took out the card and said to Guo Taiming, I'll take this jade box, but as for the card, I can't take it. He didn't explain the purple coral thing. Since he gave the purple coral to him, Guo Taiming's descendants wouldn't be affected by it anymore. Despite Guo Taiming's repeated requests, Yimo still didn't take the card. He wasn't short on money. Even if he had a few $100 million, it wouldn't be enough for him. Yimo thought he needed more precious herbs and materials for his cultivation, which would cost a tremendous amount of fortune. When his situation stabilized, he would think of ways to gather wealth. After participating in the hidden sect auction, Yimo felt just relying on his online clinic. No matter how much money he earned, it wouldn't be enough to buy one flower of the blue flower blue leaf grass. He had to think of other ways to earn money. Ninghai. Outside the house Yimo lived, Ning Qingxue was peacefully taking care of the silver heart grass. She missed Yimo a lot when he wasn't here. Yimo hadn't been back for a few months, but knew that Yimo would come back. He promised her after all. The silver heart grass was growing well, and with Ning Qingxue's care, the biggest one was already 8 centimeters tall. She didn't care that much about cultivation, but in order to not fall too far behind Yimo, she would force herself to spend a certain amount of time to cultivate each day. The other time, she would either take care of the silver heart grass or play with her necklace. She liked the pearls around her neck a lot. Last time when Su Jingwen saw this necklace, she also liked it a lot, but Ning Qingxue wouldn't give this necklace to Su Jingwen. Strictly speaking, this was the only gift Yimo gave her. Qingxue, come with me to go shopping at Walking Street. Su Wei finished work early today and came back before 5 p.m. and called out to Qingxue as soon as she walked in the door. Walking Street. Ning Qingxue remembered the golden cake and felt hungry. She smiled and agreed with Su Wei's idea. The Walking Street was the place where Ning Qingxue visited the most. Most of the time, she would come to eat golden cake. Sometimes, she would come with Su Jingwen and Li Mumei. Sometimes she would come with Su Wei. When she was very bored, she would come by a few times by herself. She felt that a golden cake had the shadow of Ymo. Each time she ate it, she was very focused. At this moment, the walking street was still very popular. The sky wasn't completely dark yet, but all the small stores had been pushed out. Two Taoists were walking casually in this street. One of them was in his 50s, and another was only a little over 20. It's really a pity. We missed the auction by a month. I heard there was actually a blue carrot and 2 face preserving pills. I wonder if it's real. Master, I feel like this mortal world is too impure. We should go back. The younger Taoist wandered for a few days and felt this vibrant world was just like that, nothing special. As expected, as soon as this younger Taoist said that, the older Taoist immediately had the look of approval in his eyes and nodded. Indeed, Yuan Zhong, your mental state is very good. You weren't mesmerized by this flowery world. I can relax now. Okay, since you're already annoyed, we'll go back to cultivate. Now, you won't keep thinking about the outside world. This younger Taoist, called Yuan Chong, had a sneaky look in his eyes but said very straightforwardly, Master is right. However, just as he said this, he froze. He stared dazedly at the 2 girls in front of him, and he couldn't even move. What's up? The older Taoist immediately noticed. Yuan Chong swallowed some saliva and said, Master, I want that woman. She's so pretty. If she can be my wife, I'm willing to stay in the sect my entire life. The older Taoist followed Yuan Chong's gaze and saw a girl wearing a blue flower skirt, holding a golden cake in her hands. She bit down carefully with eyes filled with gentleness. It was an extreme beauty indeed. This sort of woman was rare even in the hidden sects, much less the mortal world. They actually met a woman so out of this world in a small place like here. No wonder his disciple wanted this woman. However, if he could find a girl to stay with Yuan Chong and calm him down in the sect, it would be quite good. Thinking about this, the old Taoist smiled. This girl is not bad indeed, but this sort of thing should be mutual. If she doesn't like you, then... Master, I must have her. With my talent and looks, it's a good match. And when she completely understands who we are, she would feel lucky. Not everyone has the luck to enter our world. Master. Yuan Chong gulped his saliva again. His eyes never left the girl eating the golden cake. The old Taoist nodded and said, I made you right. It's her luck indeed if she can enter our sect. Go ask her and see if she's willing. But you need to know your boundaries. I can tell her temperament is very royalty-like. Perhaps her background is very strong. Yes, master, but you're thinking too much. The outer hidden sects have fallen heavily. Master, you have taken me to see a few of them, but the highest is only a mere earth level. These people are too dumb, much less a girl from the mortal world. Don't worry. Then Yuan Chong rushed towards that girl eating the golden cake. Girl, hello, I'm Yuan Chong. Although this young Taoist was into the girl, he had 0 social experience. He didn't know how to express himself or even have a pickup line. Ning Qingxue was just eating the golden cake and reminiscing her time with Emo, but was scared by this Taoist who suddenly appeared. She quickly took a few steps back and looked at Yuan Chong in vigilance. The small Taoist Yuan Chong saw Ning Qingxue at a close distance. She had this beauty with a sliver of goddess-like royalty temperament, thus making him unable to control himself. Now that Ning Qingxue looked at him in vigilance, he quickly saluted with his fist. I'm Yuan Chong. I'm from the hidden sects, also the immortal sects called by the mortal world. My master feels your talent is suitable for the immortal arts of our sect. Ning Qingxue frowned and pulled Su Wei. Su Wei, let's go. Idiot. Su Wei didn't have the good temper of Ning Qingxue and swore at the Taoist. Yuan Chong didn't expect that Su Wei dared to swear at him. He went up and grabbed Su Wei, tossing her many meters out into a stall. Su Wei was smashed to the floor and wasn't able to get up. Ning Qingxue quickly went up and helped Su Wei up while looking coldly at Yuan Chong. She was going to call the police. Seeing Ning Qingxue make the call, although Yuan Chong didn't have much social experience, he knew that Ning Qingxue was probably going to call for help. He went up and was about to grab Ning Qingxue's phone, but just when he did, he was blocked by a yellow light which disappeared immediately. Yuan Chong looked at his hand. It was actually blocked. The force was actually very strong. He was the publicly renowned genius for ancient martial arts. He was only 26 years old, but was already at the black level peak. Now, he couldn't even take a phone from a girl. Was this girl also an ancient martial arts master? Thinking about this, Yuan Chong no longer tried to steal the phone, but punched toward Ning Qingxue. In this punch, he used 30% of his power. Bang! This time Yuan Chong saw clearly that his fist was blocked by a pale yellow light, but this light eventually couldn't take the power of his fist and was broken. Although Ning Qingxue's defensive bracelet blocked Yuan Chong's fist, she was still sent flying onto the street and fell down at an intersection of roads, being bumped by a car passing by. At this moment, Su Wei had crawled up and just saw Ning Qingxue being hit by the car. She became scared, and she quickly rushed over to help Ning Qingxue up. That older Taoist quickly came in front of Ning Qingxue and put his hand in front of Ning Qingxue's nose. His face immediately went very bad. Master. Yuan Chong also felt his fist was a bit too heavy. The old Taoist sighed, speaking to the ear of the young Taoist. Yuan Chong, you've caused trouble. This girl can't be saved. We need to leave quickly. Yuan Chong looked at Ning Qingxue with regret and longing. I attacked too heavily, but master, your words are too exaggerated. This is causing trouble? Who would be a match for you in the outside world? Humph, you really don't know how tall the heavens are and how thick the earth is. The defensive amulet the girl wore was obviously high level. Even I rarely see something like that. Someone with such an amulet wouldn't have a simple background. The old Taoist said and looked at the coming police car. He didn't talk more with the young Taoist and grabbed him, disappearing in a few steps. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.